Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the MHA What If with another fanfiction. This is the move of What If Deku Unearthed Sugomori's secrets? All credits for this video go to their respective authors, so please support the real author. Check out the link in the description for more details. Please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Everything began with a lost document. It was very old, maybe a century old, so the papers felt like molded dust with cheap ink. The words were so smudged that reading it was nearly impossible. But the scientists were curious, of course they would be. It was not so often that you found something that held the history of the days before. Before humans were blessed with quirks, before all the hero stuff, a world that sounded like another planet, not the Earth that they were living on. And what was the idiom? Curiosity kills the cat. And here? Curiosity killed humanity. The point was, the document they'd found was not some ancient medicinal list or a simple psychological profile like one might assume from a first glance. No, the value of this piece was far more intangible than that. No, the document reported an experiment on 7 children, with risky calculations that led to impressive and fantastic growth and gave a brilliant result. A hope for peace and safety, for no more violence, injustice, hatred, or war. A hope for a bond between humans, old and young, woman and man, ran deeper than blood and stronger than the storm, something that would solve every problem in their crumbled society. Something that saved humans. Something good, some greater good. And so the scientists gathered, only the bravest, smartest, only the best, because the cowards couldn't bring themselves to sacrifice such a small cost to the greater good, to the hopeful future. A group of maniacs, using all the resources that they had to build up a giant underground laboratory so the experiment would be safe and sound, hidden from those judging eyes and brainless words. 7 children from nowhere and everywhere, the document, the right quirk, and the device to strengthen it, that was everything they ever needed. And so they started their dream, with endless hope, racing hearts and blinding smiles. And so they started their dream, holding with such despair into that fake hope, no wisdom to its true nature. A sugar-coated, bitter nightmare that hurt people and broke their heart. The Kisnaver experiment. At the beginning of the experiment, there were 7 tags. 7 names, separately written on the cold surface of each of the dog tags. Those appealing, wonderful dog tags shaped into cute forms like stars and hearts and wings and more childish images. Silver and copper and steel, the tags meant everything to them. Something that the children treasured, for there was nothing more for them. They bled the same blood, shared the same wounds, felt the same pain, hurt at the same time. Their minds were connected. The only thing one could use to distinguish the children was the dog tags, and their looks alone. At the beginning of the experiment, there were 7 tags. Then one got splatter-ed with blood and gore, just an accident, but also an end to a blooming blossom that would never know love. And then there were 6. What is the best way to start a new day, or more specifically, wake up from the dream world? Open your eyes and adore the gleaming sunshine that paints the whole room in gold, or taste the sweet scent of flowers in the coming wind, brushing softly against your cheeks and your smile? Who knows? But definitely not by a freaking aching pain from his butt cheeks to his skull, throbbing like he's been thrown down an elevator. And what the ever-living F did she do to her nose? Motherfucking shitballs. God damn it. Bakugo wipes the sweat off his face, already regretting the idea of coming back to Earth. His headaches, a FING concert of rock and roll playing nonstop, try to drill a hole into that thick skull, but Bakugo bears it like a pro and rolls off his bed. It seems like it's gonna be another shitty day. Well, at least he gets to rise and shine even before the dawn. And then the world goes white. F-. This time is not just a simple headache, FING hell. It has grown into a full body pain, like gracefully falling down the stairs and feeling the violent love of the shitty ground, no joke. He can see somehow, the bruises beginning to form, pale purple like violet or lavender. The blonde sighs, deep and sorrowful like a voiceless question to those above, and slowly makes his move down to the kitchen. The fuckers that are all his classmates, or so they say, are mostly asleep, so the only sound is his footsteps and grumpy grumbling. At least he has changed his pajamas into training clothes that will hide most of his FING skin. Still, out of all the days of the week, why today? A soft hand touches his mind, so gentle that if he knew any less, he would not spare it a second thought, or maybe just spark it off like he does everything else. Bakugo tries to ignore it, but the person is extremely annoying, keeps poking and poking and poking until he snaps and reaches back. What? Morning. Sorry. My fault. The familiar feeling rises into words and meaning. How can one describe this? To hear the voice, yet it's not Japanese or English or FNG any other known language. It's just nothing yet. His racing heart somehow slows down at that giddy feeling. The warmth that burns in his chest is not his alone, so confusing yet so calm, like being wrapped up in the softest blanket when outside is all snowy and stormy. Bakugo feels his scowl loosen against his effort to keep it up. FING beach. Fuff. There is no real bite in that curse, almost like a tease instead. If Bakugo reaches deeper, he may hear it truly. A hearty laugh that rings in the air, like silver bells and crackling fire, a sound he hasn't heard since forever, and then silence. Thank All Might, she listens for once. Bakugo looks down to the finished coffee, which he didn't even know existed until now, closes the bond and drinks it in one shot. Disgusting. But the caffeine works, since he feels the drowsy sleepiness swept away in just a blink, and here it is. Gone away, soft to Bakugo, and in its place? FING kickbutt, a-hole Bakugo. That doesn't make any sense, but mind your own business because if he says it then it does. He will make it make sense anyway, just to F people. Finish the coffee, an apple to ready his empty stomach for the morning run, and up he goes. Just the normal routine, 10 laps around the schoolyard and 30 minutes for the gym. His speed has improved remarkably since the start of youth. Training after training can bring it out. But still Bakugo wants it to be better, to be more, to be so fast no one can catch up and will never be trapped down again. Ket. The voice sounds louder, urgent and strained. For a moment he is so confused. What's wrong with Beach again? She needs help? In trouble again? Or something annoying like, why does he feel so cold? Cat. Breathe with me. It's him this time? Always needed to be saved, always the weak. The effing black cat to everyone, brings nothing but pain and downfall. Cat. Breathe. For me. That he can do. Bakugo takes in a shaking breath, through the nose, then releases it through his parted lips, his chest rising and falling like a sedative pattern. Now he understands why Beach just calls for him so desperately, because his lungs feel devastated, surrounded by steel starps, which must be his ribs traps, and his heart is crying for life, for FNG help. He is FNG breathing, but the air just won't follow, won't come in because it's a son of Beach. There it comes, the rising panic, the dizzy feeling, the need to get low to the ground, but if he is going to do that, no way is he going to bow, so life, and if the panic. He fights down the panic. The air comes in short and shallow, held inside for too long and comes out trembling with guilt and pain. But still he stands straight, sweaty and steady. The only telltale sign is his messy breathing, but it's okay, because he is okay. Just a mistake. A simple stupid distraction and his body becomes a DMN drowning damsel. Only brought back from the endless depths by her words and the lovely, precious bond. It takes time, maybe a century or a few seconds, but his heart stops screaming, the blood stops rushing like he is on drags, and the tension slowly drains from his body. His breathing returned to normal and he is fine now. He is strong. What a liar. You there? Fine. Beach. Silence again. Then there is her existence, an unexpected sensation but always welcomed in his mind. Always warm, like sunshine and life, like soothing mist covers him, protects him, even if she knows he is not weak and he can do that himself. A special way only they know, to remind the other that they are here, a vague yet so solid notion of their presence. Love. She is gone again, but he knows she is still there on the other side of the bond. So Bakugo takes in a steady breath and goes on with his training routine. He is fine. She is fine. They are fine. Are they? He will be the best hero. And the best hero doesn't give a f when silly shit like messed up memories or a little trauma try to get in the way. All Might may have fallen, whose fault? Whose fault? But he leaves behind an empty throne for the next hope. And that will be his. He can't afford to fail that mission. That dream. Can't afford to fail them. The breeze from nowhere flows by and gets curious from the teenager who smells like sweet and spite. Like an excited child, it stops to play with him, by the breath of the sky that carries the fragrance of earth and sunlight, soft sunlight from the coming dawn. So Bakugo relaxes, ignores everything and keeps running. The breeze kisses his fluffy blonde hair and messes with his clothes, cools down and dries the sweat for him, so he speaks no complaints. Bakugo simply keeps on running. And running. And running. There were 6 left behind, after the 7th tag had been thrown away like it was nothing. Just a cheap accessory, not the only thing left after flesh turned into blood and gore and life wasted, forever. But they knew nothing. 6 little children, 6 people with different personalities, different languages and cultures, but cared and understood and loved and together, forever. Together, forever. Then one choked from failure and weakness. Deemed as a mistake, a burden, choked by the hand of those they thought they could trust, those lied and lied and lied and killed and hurt and, because they were weak, because they hoped. One choked, then failed. The tag was blurred, desperate scratching broke the name carved on it, erased the name. No name left. No name and no grave. Just a body wrapped in white cloth. Tossed into a hole. It was bound to happen and they didn't want to waste time for a funeral or things like that. It wasn't fair. But who cared? Nobody. Who remembered? Now that he was gone, existence summed up in a broken tag and faded memory. How unfair. But nobody cared. One choked. And then there was 5. It's exactly 6 o'clock when he comes out of the gym, burning with energy and wonderful aching in well-shaped muscle. Bakugo doesn't forget his special custom-made towel, one to absorb the nitroglycerin, which unfortunately is both a toxic chemical and his sweat, so he won't accidentally explode anything on his way back to home, the dorm. A private dorm he just moved in, few days ago. It's freaking strange, wake up to a place that's not his but will be his for 2 to 3 years from now. And if Bakugo leaves just a tiny bit of the toxic liquid on his hands so that he can set up the explosion to the place of some grape trash, then well, it's pure accident. There is no way he will do that on purpose. Nope, just nope, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. When he comes back, the dorm has begun to rise with sound and moving and life from all those excited, childish teenagers. The blonde can hear Big Lip's cooking tools move in a lazy rhythm, fresh scent of sugar and butter fills the air, the soft caro of Froggy in the bathroom or panicked screeching of definitely Raccoon Eyes somewhere he doesn't want to know. For the love of All Might, if this is how the future heroes act like every morning, Bakugo doubts that he will be able to bear their stupidity without committing a homicide. Kaken. Where have you dash? Nope. Nope and nope. His morning is already shitty enough without that stupid face. He won't let it go straight down to hell level. Not today. Fuff. Bakugo snarls. Satisfaction fills up his not-sure-it-exists heart at Deku's flinches and nervous quiver. But of course, Deku never knows when to stop, does he? Never learn to respect people's personal boundaries, always push and push until it breaks and both sides suffer. I'm sorry. It's just I'm worried and so is everyone because the last time you disappeared it was a big trauma to all of us and right now the villains are strongly active these days so dash. Deku. One word, sharper than knife and colder than steel, cuts off everything that fucker is going to blabber more without any second thought. His light mood is all gone now, with that FING move of the green hair boy. How dare him? How dare him? Deku must be so smug, after rescuing him from that garbage, must be so FNG high on the feeling of pushing Bakugo down and down to where he belonged to. He must be so proud and stupid, dare to throw that disaster to his face. Or maybe it's his way of revenge. To tell Bakugo straightly, everything is his fault. Always his fault, isn't it? Don't make me repeat myself. F off or I'll kill you. The blonde slams Deku back to the wall, viciously, red eyes darken like the bleeding sun, narrowed, rigid, empty and cold and so so full of hidden rage. Deku. The poor boy can only hold his throbbing shoulder, unable to break eye contact. He can't speak, knowing it will bring only danger and more rage toward him. Words stuck and twisted on tongue into meaningless sound, taste like ash and guilt, so Deku only nods. Bakugo releases him, turns around and walks back to his room. If his footsteps are loud and heavy with all the tucked-in emotions, no one is dumb enough to protest against it. Some of the extras only look fearful as the living bomb walks through. Like he would waste any FING time on them, useless fuckers. Changing into his fresh, clean, and warm uniform is a relief, which lowers the level of his anger. Bakugo deeply sighs, sounding like a FING bull, trying to remember what he FNG forgot since Deku's existence messed up his brain and FING breakfast. Now this is a real pain in the butt, isn't it? Going back to the kitchen and getting his blood boiling just by looking at Deku's shitty face. Or staying in his room until the time for class and being starved for hours. Well, at least he can chew on Deku for a snack. That sounds disgusting, but his teeth may need the exercise, and the fucker can have a thick as F skull. Consider his dumb thoughts and bullshit belief in fairy tale endings and hope. Troublesome. Throwing the school bag over his shoulder, Bakugo grumpily walks down to the kitchen one more time. Lucky for him, the universe finally shows that it's not a total trash beach, because Deku has already F'd off to somewhere he doesn't care. Four Eyes is looking at him with disapproval carved deeply into his eyes and his face, because Deku can't be wrong and he is always the one at fault, right? Because Deku couldn't shut up and learn to respect him, it's all his fault, right? Baku bro, what makes you so grumpy? It's just morning. Kirishima greets him with sunshine and rainbow, his grin so bright Bakugo thinks he should get sunglasses. This is his life now. Don't talk with food in your mouth, shitty hair. What did Midoriya do to make you beat him up, bro? Kaminari chirps from the other side of the room, the bowl of sweet cereal secured in his lap as he sits on the big sofa, shoulder to shoulder with Siro, who looks like he's so close to fall back to the land of dream. What is FNG wrong with them? Whoever stays up till the dawn when you have school in like 3 more hours? Being Deku. The fridge is full of trash food, snacks, and cheap ice cream. And who in this holy world put those disgusting bars of all sugar and not chocolate here? If Bakugo has to take a single bite, he will scream. And is that cold soba? All Might helps him. At least there is fresh vegetable and eggs, with decent quality, so he will ignore it. For now. Bakugo makes a simple salad with soft-boiled eggs, because he cares for his health, unlike those extras. The blonde did consider omelette, then shrugged it off. Maybe dinner, now he just wants something light and soft. Right at that moment, his sense of taste is attacked by a bomb of flavor. Bacon, and a perfect one, perfectly crisp, perfectly salty, a light touch of hot sauce mixes with butter. Bakugo can feel his tongue liking around his mouth, savoring the taste, feeling the greasiness in his teeth and down his throat, happily. Yummy. Of course. It's her, always her, his Beach, who cares and cares, not by fake words and fake honesty. Beach must sense his bad mood, so she picks bacon, a comfort food to both of them. It tastes just like how he wants it, like smoke and fire and lonely days and hugging and silly smiles. Comfort. Bakugo laughs under his breath. Cold eyes melt into something soft he will never show to anyone else, something he swears he will bring down to the grave, a forever secret. He picks up the soft egg, takes a bite and enjoys when bacon and egg mixes into a perfect harmony. A way to say thank you. A way of showing support. Yum yum. Childish, Bakugo sends to her, continues with his healthy breakfast, for once not bothered by the stupid noises around him. Just lean back on the counter, chewing the fresh tomato and sour sauce in the salad and feeling some random bursts of emotion or thought in the Beach's head. That stupid, nonsense head, who chooses the lover in Maybelline lipstick? Can't she see how divine wine rocks like a real queen? Bakugo! Right after he finishes his salad and moves on to tell her that if, no, you don't draw eyeliner thick like you are using a marker, Raccoon Eyes dares to shout his name so loud. Bakugo closes the bond and looks back, annoyance shines in his eyes. Wanna go to school together? You haven't finished that trash. It's not trash. It's sweet rainbow cereal. And pretty please see. Trash. What the F is sweet rainbow, some alien food. He is going to reject, like he always does, but her sad eyes and pouty lips stop him from doing that. Raccoon Eyes is not a real pain. Her bubbly side is too much, and maybe his brain has been seriously messed with since that fateful day. Those shitty villains have used some quirks to cut down his brain cells. He is dead sure of it, because Bakugo hears words from his very own mouth, and that is not what he was going to say. Eat up and we will see. Bakugo clenches his jaw, looks into those golden eyes for some hidden devious lie, some FNG prank to lie to Bakugo, and then laughs him off with a smirk, saying why will they invite him to walk with them or stuff like that. He sees that too often. In the eyes of those he had thought of as his friends and should have known better. And now he just falls into the same trap, waiting for mocking and laughter as the pink girl's eyes fills with joy. Yeet. She takes the bowl, the spoon forgotten, drinks all the leftover milk and cereal in one shot. Bakugo cringes when he sees how gross that looks, but Mina doesn't care. She stands up so fast and screams, "Oi Kaminari! Hurry up or we will leave you behind. Gimme a minute." He snorts, shoulders still tense and eyes narrowed with caution, but not as much as before. Eyes look at the right side, where Kirishima is standing, bright and so effing happy, and are those tears? Can he take his words back now? You are so manly, Bakugo. The red head punches the air above, shaking with excitement. Piss us off. Idiots. All of them. Them shitty idiots. Idiots that saved him, idiots who are careless and stupid, and he owes them, doesn't him? Bakugo despises debt, especially stupid debt created from his own weakness. And if they want him to stick around and be their friend, to repay it, then they get what they want. For now. 5 little children, young but not foolish. Not anymore, for death brought wisdom. Fear was the thing that kept them alive. Not love, not happiness. Fear for the pain. Fear for the liars, FNG liars with cold eyes and creepy smiles. Fear for the emptiness, fear for loss. They stuck close to each other, fearful and terrified and tired, so tired. Their eyes were gray and black in hatred, the rose-colored glasses broken by blood, and so much pain as death kissed them away. They thought they had been good enough. They thought they would be fine. Be alive. Be together. Together. Poor little birds. Shouldn't you learn already that hope brings you nothing but disappointment? Then the nightmare woke up. Then one fell. Fear painted her small face white and red and twisted the small body into the gruesome beauty of a fallen angel. Fear kept them alive. Then fear killed off one of their loved ones and taught them better. One tried to fly with broken wings to the fake paradise, and then there were 4. If he commits homicide right now, will that affect his career much? Because how could 4 fuckers be this annoying? Dude. Go to hell. He barks out as Kaminari keeps eyeing his lunch with the look of someone who's been starved for years, small canines gleaming with danger not hatred. The lunchbox is not even a fancy one, too busy with extra training yesterday to care. Some rolled eggs, rice ball, tomato salad, all red with chilies and a fresh red pepper. What is FNG special about it? Is that Pikachu a street kid or something? Dude, your bento is homemade. Homemade, ya hear me? So what? What do you mean, so what? Homemade bento is love, earth and heaven. My ma's always so busy to make a bento for me. And now we are in the dorm, I can't even eat her dinner. How do you get that? Off and eat your trash. His eyebrows twist so violently it may fall off his face, but lunch is short and he doesn't want to waste time beating that fizzy skull. So Bakugo focuses all of the anger into his bite, ripping the egg rolls apart like chewing on his enemy. Not Deku though. Because that's DMN disgusting. I don't want to commit cannibalism, got it. Silence again. The calm before the DMN storm, like how he will store all the nitroglycerin into one hand, waiting for the right time, right moment, and FNG set it off like a pro. Bakugo knows that calm, so he braces himself. And boom. Their brains just explode from their mouth. So mean. Kiri, protect me. The blonde hacks, then screams like a banshee, throwing hands around the redhead who is laughing his butt off, choking and gagging. Raccoon Eyes is turning blue and green as she bangs her hand on the table. Is her second quirk called chameleon or what? Soy sauce, the barely their sanity of these four, looks calm enough so Bakugo is going to tell him to keep their sheet out of his. That fucker is wheezing silently? While using his bread to cover the laughter. What's even funny about it? Bakugo takes his words back. There is no sanity in these four. I didn't know you could be so funny, Bakugo. Raccoon Eyes weakly holds onto his broad shoulders, golden eyes glistening with unshed tears and wonder. Pearly white teeth make that grin on her face looks even more dumb than it already is, but his heart aches. Her smile is full of trust and love and wonder, like a young little girl with the tag shaped like a music note, like the girl who never stopped laughing, broken little songbird. It's so Diamina-like that his food tastes like ash. Grief rises and burns, hands wet with dripping soul and dying heart and broken. Bakugo shoves the last rice ball into his mouth, almost chokes on the spicy rice. Picking up the red pepper, he gets away from the girl's reaching hands, away from Stupid Hair's warm smile, Dunce Face's non-stop whining and soy sauce soft chuckle. Away from this place, filled of familiar love, familiar warmth. Bakugo! I'm out of here. There is no spite or threat in his sentence, just tiredness. Spiky blonde hair falls down on his face, creating shadow so they don't get to see those red eyes. Don't get to see the death staring back at them from the other side of shattering bonds. That's what throws the squad off, breaking the fragile happy atmosphere into awkward silence. Bakugo gently turns his head, which is weird because he is anything but gentle, so they manage to see the side of the blonde's face. He looks so down. So tired. So, is this how sorrow feels like? Get your butt to class, fuckers. It's late. Who is he talking to? Bakugo won't tell. He speaks things he doesn't know, means things no one can understand. And he wants it to stay like that, a secret. An ugly skeleton in his bloody closet. Forever. For children learned helplessness. Learned hatred and distrust. Their innocence was buried with tiny corpses of their friends, their souls blend into one. Those people were happy. Excited. Because their friends were dead and they were 4, not 7. Because they smelled the sweet scent of rotten bodies, heard ghosts whisper and saw nothing but blood on their hands and blood on their hearts. For the greater good, one told them. What could be good, if it took death as its price? Then came the sound of freedom. It began with shouting and explosion. Of a mistake, or that was what they said, tender smile and encompassed emotion. Guilt. Satisfaction. Loathing. Hatred. It began loud and bright. Screaming everywhere, the proud adults met their fall, the children kissed their chance. And so they ran. And so they held on to that little promise the fire blessed them with, of no more cage and no more lying. But you could never get something that priceless from nothing. So one stayed. A sacrifice for the enraging earth and vengeful ghosts, so her friends would be safe and sound. The little child stayed, never left that cursed lab, bones white under the earth and ash gone with the dawn of bitter hope. One sacrificed with a smile. And then there was 3. Bakugo doesn't remember how he walks through this awful day. His brain keeps zoning out, into the deep mysterious space. To the skyline full of cloud and shapeless smoke, feeling red and blue from the glowing sunlight and humming breezes. The teacher's voices sound so far away, drown in fire cracking and nonsense whispers. He has stopped wondering who the voice belongs to, stopped trying to figure out the hidden message behind the blabber and blended words. Instead, just sit there and listen to the past that will never leave. Then rings the bell, and he hears freedom. Obaku dash. Before Shitty Hair or Raccoon Eyes gets a chance to ask, Bakugo jumps to his feet, shoves all the textbook and paper into the bag in one move. He disappears in a blink, leaving some pouty faces and worried eyes behind his back. Nope. He won't listen. Won't risk another chance to look at those a-holes and feel these awful aching in his chest. Just no. Right when he enters the dorm, quiet and peaceful, Bakugo runs to his room, locks it with the cautious of a victim hidden in the house full of murderers. After making sure that the only way they can enter is breaking the door, And if they do that, he can just explode their faces without getting into trouble. Bakugo feels the tension bleeds away from his body. The deadlock grip on his school bag loosens, allows it to fall down the floor with a dull, loud as F sound. Bakugo hears nothing but the whisper. Louder and louder, first a deep miming like the walls pressed against bones and flesh, then comes the weeping. It's not loud like a screaming child or a mourning woman. Instead, the weeping is so quiet. Small sobs and hiccups echo from a torn throat, eerie, terrifying. Bakugo wants to cry too. But he will not. He doesn't have the right to. When will they stop? When will they rest? Why do they wake up now? After years of staying under, thousands of denying, why now? Bakugo. That's right. Because of that accident, right? How he is still weak and foolish like the young boy knows nothing better. Because of them, right? They're why his heart swells up. Their smile and love like a blanket, a comfort, their openness to accept him as he is. This proximity, because he feels so good being this close to them, like he used to. They are the literal sun, and yet, somehow, burns don't leader his skin when he touches them. When they touch him. But he should burn. Because Katsuki is not a sun. He's the vacuum of space that distances them from everything else. They shine with an innate love, and Bakugo has no love to give. No pure, sweet, gentle love. No more. No more. No more. A strangle, inhuman sound rips itself off his mouth, sobs twisted into growl and painful howling. His eyes are dry, his tongue burns with invisible ash, his teeth clench so tight they might break, thousands of pieces, cutting his mouth and stabbing his FNG soul. He wants to run away from this place, runs away from all these extras. Want to write their names on the papers and watch them shrinking down the muddy water, because there is no grave to kneel and beg for mercy. Want to cry until his lungs give up and blood replaces salty tears. Want to bleed all his heart out until the ghosts satisfy and the pain comes back. No more emptiness. No more silence. No more death. He does neither. Bakugo simply sits on his soft bed, still in the uniform, staring blankly at the wall in front of his face. Arms red from how his own fingers, trying to get rid of the remaining blood, unconsciously scratch until skin breaks. The tremors crawl up his whole body, waiting to be blown away. He closes his eyes, closes his heart, and weeps. He is so effed. So utterly effed up. There left were three, survived and young and broken and free. Freedom rang in their ear, the sound of squealing wind, the scent of wet earth, fresh green leaves and flying butterflies. Freedom lay on their tongue, taste of tears. And sweet blossom. Freedom sang them a song of victory and put itself into those tiny, waiting hands. But empty, empty lie. Freedom didn't sound or taste or feel sweet. Freedom felt like despair. Like a twisted end to a failed fairy tale, blood and bones and fear and hatred and plus. They knew loss like how they knew pain. Freedom came with loss. So 3 children were free. But the world didn't want that. It enjoyed watching them fall. And so they fell. And they would fall further. Because they knew better. Hope would always be a lie. Kirishima sighs. Loudly, expressing all his sadness by the sound only. A scowl weaves itself onto his face, refusing to leave, telling all of his dark thoughts to those who care and those who notice. That could have been so much better. He had thought Bakugo had finally accepted them, him, as his friends, finally stopped shutting them out and staying in his own world, looking so lonely. He had thought they could understand him, even if just a little. It seems like they still can't reach him. Kiri, did you see that? What do you mean, Mina? Kirishima turns away from the empty seat. What is wrong with him though? Eye to eye with the speculative pink girl. She doesn't answer him, just keeps on staring straight, dumbstruck. He frowns, scratches his spiky hair and asks again. Mina? You there? His chest, Kiri. His chest. Okay, Mina, I know you always talk about our classmates' athletic muscles, but dash. What the hell? I'm not talking about that, you idiot. Mina shrieks, looking so offended that Kirishima knows she is serious. And a serious Mina must not be taken lightly. So the redhead inhales deeply, carefully approaching the girl again. Sorry. What do you mean then? There's a scar, Kiri. Bakugo has a scar on his chest. That sounds weirdly concerning. Of course everyone has a few scars from life lessons and stuff, but this is Bakugo they are talking about. Brilliant, genius, abnormal, out-of-the-world Bakugo, a force of nature, who blasts off villains and makes death sound like a mercy. Who never loses and never fails. Who is the definition of perfection, to the point that someone like him actually having a scar sounds like a lie to Kirishima. But he is still human, so it's normal. Right? So? I know Bakugo's super manly and tough, but everyone has scars, right? It's not just a scar. I don't know, Kiri. Mina bites her lips, but that doesn't calm her nerves. Her mind flashes back to that moment, when Bakugo blasts himself, not literally though, out of the classroom, his shirt opened at the top like usual, so her eyes manage to catch that. As how his clothes flows, revealing a well-toned, muscular chest with smooth as F skin and a scar, right where his heart is located. An old one. It looked as if someone had set off an explosion just over his heart, and while the flesh was still smoking and charred they'd taken a knife to it, leaving long slashes over the crater like burned flesh. Not just any scar, because how the F can you get your scar to be shaped so weird? The scar looked so freaky. The three escaped. They were free. But they were marked, a sign of suffering and pain, a telltale scar. A scar of bond, honor and love. Or that was what was supposed to mean. A special scar, which only 7 children had, a proof for hope and dream and failure and humanity and the Kisnaver's experiment. That was its original name. But they called it another name. A joke, one made out of spite and hatred and sarcasm. The soulmate experiment. Hell seems to have finally lost its sheet, because the ghosts won't be quiet. Ever since that FING day, when Deku kept pissing him off and those motherfuckers turned out to be his biggest nightmare, Bakugo has not had a single peaceful day. Let's ignore the brainless media that firmly believes that other heroes are dead and All Might's retirement is the beginning of apocalypse, because they have always been such a pain. Can't they see how the heroes are trying to stop everything from breaking apart? How pain fills their eyes and tension crawls all over their bodies. Can't they see? Right. Their eyes are rotten with their own needs. How can he forget? He will never forget. The dead keep roaming the land of life, and all he wants is for them to leave him alone, just a day. That is selfish and a dirty thought to have, but Bakugo can't help it. The whispers, sometimes laughter or screeching, can be too much. A sharp laughter, like a knife striking a shard of glass, steals his breath. A scream shatters glass and carries the scent of burning flesh. An exhausted cry, from a mouth which will never open again and words left tainted with cold ash, his ever regret. He doesn't feel like himself anymore. The bonds are gone. Dead takes them and turns them into its most precious accessory, bloody red and scorning hatred, yet his mind still remembers. His eyes catch something red and sharp, Kirishima's hair for example, and he can't stop staring. Jairu's humming rings in his ears like a lost melody, and Bakugo sings it like a lullaby for the endless sleep. Kuda talks to the bird and flying creature and he longingly misses how the wind brushes his skin higher and higher. Ashido giggles when Kaminari panics over something as stupid as Kirishima's Crocs and his heart jumps to lie on tongue, waiting to be vomited out with 1,000 apologies and mistakes. Everyone starts to look at him weirdly now, worried and scared, but Bakugo doesn't care. He can't bring himself to care. Is he really here, or it's all a lie? Like how freedom is a lie and hope is a lie. Beach is the only thing to keep Bakugo away from the grave of insanity, but being that clingy sounds effed up, so he locks his hands away and drowns himself in memory and reality. Everything feels like lost fragments of a dream, a nightmare. In one moment he wants to get rid of it so bad, and in the next all he can think of is holding it tenderly, like his life depends on it. That sounds just right. All Might's fall, an empty throne, another thing to add into Bakugo's black cat effect. Destruction and pain, he makes his loved ones bleed, because he has no idea how to be gentle. For he learns hatred before he learns love, just like those liars want. Life hates him with a passion. Death, his dearest, always here with him, fleets through his life and waits until his grip loosens, waits for him to fall. Bakugu, you don't need to try that hard. Rest, overworking will only bring harm to your health. Young Bakugu, don't worry. Things will be better now. Liar, the ghosts tell him again, trapping his tongue and breathing cold air on his ear. This is really unhealthy and messed up. Bakugu doesn't complain. He endures it with all the strength of a prisoner, endures the weight of a slowly approaching death penalty. He endures, he listens, and he stays quiet. Beach is silent today, which is not a thing to worry about. She has her days, he has his. Even if the bond which connects them makes it easy to meddle in others' stuff, they still know how to respect privacy and things like that. He is not shitty Deku, for All Might's sake. The class is noisy, however. A normal kind of noisy, which is oddly comforting. The enthusiastic in Mick's voice when he sings some random song, probably Disney good taste, he must say, All Might's passion even if his words smell like blood and bony fingers moving, sharp knife cuts Bakugu's soul to pieces and pieces, Aizawa's strict eyes, no sheet attitude. His classmates thrilled talking when they have free time, they try to be soft but never succeed, about nonsense sheet. The girls move to Hagikure's seat to talk about fashion, dreams or things. A black dress from Chanel's year collection, a true masterpiece that unfolds a story of forbidden love and tragedy in the heart which used to be a lovely scarlet, says Yaoyorozu. A model who rocks the red carpet with her sassy hips, goddess beauty and pouty cherry red lips. Bakugu thinks he knows who she is, one of his hag's friends, a badass with fire in her eyes and determination in her smile, head up and high like how a lioness holds her pride. A portrait of beauty and feminism. Too bad he never remembered her name. I know that model. He perks up, slightly, expression pinched with clear annoyance when he sees Minetta's disgusting drooling smirk. I mean her melons and butt dash. The woman has his respect, truly, so Bakugu doesn't hesitate to put his foot on Minetta's head, violently as usual, as his lips curl back into a dark snarl. Enough with your sheet, grape sheet. Don't pretend, Bakugu. Stay true to your manly heart, who won't want to touch those budash, a loud smack. He doesn't use his explosions, just pure strength to whack that bestiardi's face in his deck and knock him out. Bakugu can hear Jairu's pleased whistle and also pretends that he does not notice Tsu's happy, Karo. He doesn't do this for them, those DMN extras. Thank you Bakugu-chan. We really appreciate it. Don't thank me for things you can do yourself. Bakugu rolls his eyes, scrunching his nose when he lifts his foot back on the desk. Trash, useless piece of trash, when will that mistake of God learn? Now that's so sweet boom boom. Ashido laughs, leaning back on her chair and almost falling face down on the floor. The only thing stopping her from breaking her nose is Bakugu's unexplainably monstrous reaction. Basically, he just twists, flexible like a snack, his knee slamming against the back of her chair, strong enough to keep it steady, and puts it back on 4 legs. The chair has 4 legs for a dim reason, raccoon eyes. Her sheepish yelp just makes him even more annoyed somehow. How old is she? 2? You mother drop you when you were born or something? How did you know? Can he jump out of the window now? Karo, I don't think he means it like that, Mina-chan. Tsuyu speaks up for Bakugu, giggling as she watches those red eyes, not as cold as they used to be. The frog girl must be able to pick up some of his thoughts, because the sound grows louder. Some students fight to keep their smiles under control. What can they say? The situation is funny as F-. Some even notice how he still keeps his legs near Ashido's chair, ready for a similar accident. Midoriya's eyes are shining, watery with hidden pride, smile full of fondness. Ida looks at him carefully, but doesn't voice his thoughts aloud. Who knows what disaster can explode if Bakugu sees the green-haired boy's face right now. Bleh. Now, about the new limited embroidered dress, only once in the whole world of Fortune's brand, have you guys seen those kick-ass details? It's out of this world. I agree with Ashido-san. The new dress is a wonder. They even used a special material to improve the silk's durability, but not its characteristic softness. Even the embellished flowers are majestic enough on their own. Yaoyorozu talks, eyes sparkling with so much enthusiasm that Bakugo wonders again, where the F did he put his sunglasses? The tulips are lovely, and have I spoken about how they carefully used the black willow to highlight the white dash? Not white tulips. Not that flower. Never that flower. Centuries will be too soon for Bakugo to even look at that flower without remembering. White tulips and weeping willows. Forgiveness and mourning. Bakugo swallows his scream and closes his eyes. He once won a girl's kindness with white tulips. He once loved white tulips. He once buried white tulips under a weeping willow alongside a broken body. By his own blood-coated, painfully small hands. By himself. Please forgive me. I just want to fly from this hell. It's too soon for this chucklefuck. Too soon for white tulips and weeping willow and lost kindness. 7 years pass by, and it's still too soon. The friendly chattering in the classroom disappears without a trace behind. White noise, maybe death noise will fit it better, fills his ears. Bakugo identifies the one speaking, raccoon eyes, happy and loud, but none of her words make sense in his mind. It takes a moment, longer than he wants, to calm down and stay in his seat, explosions tucked inside his sweaty palms and choking vines of dark memories squeezing his heart so tightly it will break. Oh, but it's broken already, isn't it? Shattered and crumbled and burnt and reduced to nothing but white ash. White like the leftover bones. Stupid. Dunce's face just says something. Bakugo automatically tells him, voice strained like usual. But not by anger. Not now. Forgiveness and mourning. How can I forgive you, as it was you who broke the promise? How can I forgive you, you cowardly, weak, pathetic girl? Stupid kind girl, stupid soft girl. How can I forgive you when it was my fault? Mine. Stop bullying me. You don't deserve that. That earns him a gagging sound, like a duck, and Dunce's face's stupid pout is funny enough to make Bakugo bark out a laugh even if it's more like air wheezing out of his lungs. No one comments about it. Shitty hair whacks his back, grinning like the true idiot he is. You will make him cry, Baku bro. I love you, Kiri. Kaminari cries out, golden eyes gleaming with fake tears. Protect me, please. I take it back. Go on, Bakugo. No. You kinda bring it on yourself, bro. Siro mocks him for his seat, preferring to watch the comedy from a safe distance rather than poke at the sleeping dragon himself. To be honest, if he has to choose between poking a real dragon and Bakugo, the dragon sounds like the safe choice here. Stupid. Jairu rolls her eyes, fondly mumbling. Bakugo points his middle finger toward her, and she replies with a shooing motion, using those long earlobes. What a beach. Is our boom boom being soft? Ashido drawls, and he really doesn't like the way mischief shines so bright in her golden eyes. You are just a softy. He really doesn't like it. Get lost. Oh, boom boom, you don't deny it. I'm out of here. No. You are stuck with us forever. She climbs on top of the table, careful so her skirt won't be lifted up, and wraps her hands around his neck, chin on his shoulder. He is confused by the FING action in less than a second, then the answer sparks up in his mind. A hug. Something he has not gotten in what? Years? It's not like his parents are bad or something. Bakugo just limits his physical contacts to his hag's playful slaps to his head, his old man's soft pats on his shoulder. Other than that is usually in fighting, when he paints those fuckers' skin red and purple with satisfaction. He sweats real nitroglycerin for FNG out loud. That sheet is really toxic, so skin-to-skin contact is not his stuff. And a full warm hug? Really not his stuff. But now, when chill sneaks up his spine, spilling dizziness to his mind, dreadful familiar, a hug gives him something he will never admit that he misses. Warmth from a beating heart, a living body. Her heaviness presses against his hollow chest, fills it up with cheer and happy. Bakugo won't say it out loud, and he will always deny for the rest of his FING life, which is not really long, maybe, but when Ashido touches him like that, he sunks into her body heat, ashamed but tired. For a moment, the ghosts are quiet. But he doesn't allow himself to drown. Bakugo counts to 3, inhales, then pushes her back to the chair, as gently as his bloody hand can. The pink girl doesn't notice anything, just laughs it away and winks at him. I know you love me. I don't. Meanie. She is right. You are so mean. That's right, Bakugu. Soy sauce decides to humor them. At least show us that you have some decent humanity left in your icy soul. Who said I do? Bakugu. From the corner of his eye, Bakugu can see Tokoyami shake his head, mumbling about the craziness from the forbidden abyss. Shoji chucks, one of his many arms patting his friend's back. Jiro turns around to Koda. Poor boy doesn't know what to do in this chaos, and complains without a bite in her words. Aoyama, that boy with strangely sparkling eyes, just sighs and raises his hands to the god above, asking dramatically why must they punish such an angel like him, or some trash like that. He doesn't pay attention to those fuckwits, not now, because there is someone standing out from the corner of his eyes. Someone who shouldn't be here, as the numb sensation spreads from the tips of his fingers, nails aching painfully. Someone who couldn't be here, as the silence in his ears is burning his heart, almost unbearable. A young little girl, only 10 or so, eyes pale like the ethereal sky from a cold spring day. Soft moonlight shines through her iris, a gracious beam withholds unspoken thought that he will never understand. Her skin is porcelain white like a pretty doll, but her neck bent in a sick angle almost falls off that tiny body, and Bakugu knows how it feels to touch the bones poking out of the skin, like how he knows the blood on his hand. Her legs are twisted, and her favorite white dress is decorated with red flowers. White tulips and weeping willow. Bakugu sparks the nitroglycerin in his palm away, but the wetness stays. It never leaves. She never leaves. What do you want? Bakugu whispers, or does he? Maybe he is thinking, using his bond to talk to the dead, even if the only thing he can hold on to is emptiness. But he just hates the silence so bad, even if he asks for it himself. Why are you here? She is quiet. That's wrong, because even if her kindness is gentle and her smile soft like spring, she is never quiet. Singing and laughing and caring and loving all of them, demanding attention just by her look and embracing them with that fragility, like glass and crystal. That's why it cut him so deep when she broke. I hate you. Bakugo locks down the rising bile in his throat and declares, because the idiots around him are just swooning about love and friendship again, but he doesn't care. He can't look away from the mess on her head, dark locks tangled with dirt and blood, and the white ring of flowers stands out strikingly. She had always been a beauty, even if heaven rejected her and made her fall. Karo, Ashido-chan's heart is broken. Tsuden, I'm dying, save me. To prove that Tsuyu words are true, Mina hides her face in Hagekyu's shoulder, not that it helps much, pointing at him all the time. Where is my knight? Protect me from this Jirke. The knights are dead. Kaminari sings from Siro's lap, like a dolphin. Ida drops his face in his hands, giving up on taming these beasts. Uraraka laughs, then tries to comfort her dear friend. Midoriya is looking at Bakugo, hands fumbling around nervously, but he doesn't say anything. Because those 3 words have been Kaken's mantra since he was 9, sharper than a knife and stronger than All Might's punch, leaving him confused and scared. And now he is saying it again, same dark red eyes, same scowling and hissing like a cobra preying on its victim. Their friends don't understand. Bakugo doesn't mean it like a joke. Kaken. That's not nice. Shut up, Deku. Bakugo pushes the nerd away. He isn't his priority right now. She is still there, standing near Ojiro's desk, eyeing him with that haunted smile still carved on her lips, forever. She used to be older than him. He was 9, she was 10. He wished he would surpass her, because he would be number 1. Be careful of what you wish for, they said, but he didn't listen. Now he is 16, she is 10. Forever 10, forever young. He got what he wished for, doesn't he? Bakugo wants the ghosts to keep screaming. To shout and laugh and cry and beg and roar, madness in their eyes, fury in their voice and malice in their icy touch. Anything, to drown her silence away. I hate you. You don't. She doesn't answer. Not a reproach. Not a nagging. Nothing. She looks at him and smiles. But she is silent. Forgiveness and mourning. I hate you. I don't love you. I want it to be true. Because my love is poison, my love is the kiss of death. It takes and takes and takes, leaving nothing behind. I loved you. So you died. I loved you. So you are silent. So now I hate you, and you all will be alive. Kirishima is standing right next to him, but his sunshine smile and cheerfulness can't chase the turmoil in his chest away. Bakugo still hears it, sometimes, when the dead noise wakes up. Silly giggles, brash laughter, honest compliments, and so much more. Her silence still rings loudest, with clear memories of flowers and an apology. Bakugo looks at Tokoyami's back, where Dark Shoulder is lying lazily. To Mineta's unconscious body, wrapped in Yayarose's blanket, that girl is truly unbelievable, and Siro's tape. To Sato's grinning face as he talks about Machi and Sweet with Uraraka and a very dazed Todoroki. To Ojiro and his not really secret sweet talk with Hagakure, their hands fits perfectly to each other, and don't ask how Bakugo can see, he has eyes for FNG's sake. To the peaceful, loving scene his classmates are creating, wholesome. Happy. Alive. All he sees is the girl with broken limbs, bloody hair and white tulips. Can things get any worse now? Do you think? Todoroki begins in the fake city, a white dusting of broken ice sprinkling his hair and making his cheeks look like they're glowing, prettier than any one of them can believe. The next words, as clear as they can be while hysterical screaming and laughing rings in the air with crumbling walls, break the whole hallucination with their Todoroki-ness. That Bakugo is secretly a woman? Uraraka almost holds Midoriya with all 5 fingers and sends him to the moon because of her shock. Midoriya doubts that she stopped at the right time, 'cause his soul just left his body to join God above. What? It's a possibility, Midoriya. If you look carefully, his body is kinda curvy in a way a man can't be. It would also explain how his temper rises and falls magically. Remember when Uraraka threatened to choke you to death with her machi? Because you ate the last bar of chocolate. It was one time, Todoroki-kun. The brunette blushes violently, as bright as the fire gently flickers on the said boy, who blinks slowly, no idea about how comical and senseless his words are. And no, Bakugo-kun is a boy, absolutely. Did you see? Todoroki-kun, while your idea is very interesting, Ida interrupts before the conversation can turn worse, face dampened with nervous sweat. We need to focus on the training right now. The whole world has been through a significant change since All Might's retirement, so it will be scandalous if we lack the seriousness required to be a true hero. We know, Ida-kun. We know. No one dares to neglect that. Midoriya tries to get his breath steady, eyebrows twitching in uncertainty. Kaken is a boy, I'm sure of that, Todoroki-kun. As sure as Kirishima's compliment about how manly he is. You churls, get out of my way. A loud, booming voice vocalizes in the air, hard with the symbolic touch of rage and cutting off every attempt of Todoroki to prove his ridiculous belief. Light and fire explodes in the air, heat wave brush their skin, hot like hellfire, making them flinch away. Midoriya can hear someone squealing from that side, probably Aoyama. May the fallen buildings have mercy on the poor boys. And yup, he is very manly. Definitely a boy, so let's get rid of girl version of Kaken in his mind, 'cause he is getting sick. The greenette shivers, face as pale as the little snowflakes from his friend's quirk. Glad to see he is still lovely as usual. Uraraka chuckles, shaking her head to get the dust off and pulling him back on his feet. Midoriya nods at her words, understands what the brunette is trying to imply. His other 2 friends do too, based on the dark look suddenly edging into their expressions. Kaken has not been really like Kaken nowadays, he thinks. Midoriya feels his own heart break a little more. Scratch that. It's not a little doubt eating his nerves like before anymore, not something meaningless he can't tell anyone, even to his dear mother. What was little Deku saying? How could Kaken be weird? He was just being himself. Edgy, bratty, arrogant, silly, violent. Back then no one listened. No one understood. But now, everyone can see it. Hell, even Todoroki does in his own weird way. They all see. They all notice. How Bakugu's eyes are not the same as they used to be, bright and stunning with raw determination blazing in those red fire, but dark and cold. Something heavy, a nightmare, taints the light and drains the energy inside, leaving a corpse behind. How his muscle tense unconsciously, hissing with poison dripping off every word, no mercy. How he looks into their eyes, but not their soul, searching for someone else. Something like they are not his classmates, his friends, just strangers, or worse, enemy his enemy. How he dozes off during a conversation, glassy eyes, grim face and clenching fists, stoic face fades into something softer, young and tired and sorrow. That's what he has been showing. Every time he glances at the air, at something. Midoriya trips over nothing, breath quickening alarmingly. His lungs sting, hands fumbling around again, an old habit, trying not to draw his friend's attention because Kaken will be mad again and he doesn't want him to get mad anymore. Calm down, and think. If it was someone else, they would have thought that day, the Kamino accident, is the beginning of this change. The reason, the root of his pain. The trauma, the agony at seeing his hero fall in front of his very eyes is too much, and this is how he copes with everything. So his friends try to help, by respecting his pain and being extremely careful with their words, not saying a word about All Might or Kamino. They are walking on glass, tipping the edge of Bakugu's sanity. One wrong step and hell shall rise. But Midoriya knows different. Or he thinks that he knows. It was a summer night. The Bakugu family decided they would celebrate their vacation with a trip to somewhere outside of here. Kaken was super excited, eyes gleaming with joy and his lips parting so wide it nearly split his face apart. There was no ill intention, no malice, no anger. Just joy and pure happiness, because he got to go like a big kid and he could see so much different heroes. They were still friend, even if Midoriya was quirkless and ignored by other kids, Bakugu was still his friend. A pinky promise, made to keep, not to die. See you again, Zuko. Kaken, remember to buy me a gift please. I will. Midoriya had stayed, watching the car drifted away, until it was all just a little over the golden horizon. He pouted to his mother, who giggled and brought him a vanilla ice cone. Then they returned home and he kept on dreaming about heroes and All Might. A few months later, Kaken came back. He had that weird look in his eyes, like the dying light when the sun set. But he brightened when the greenette approached, so Midoriya hugged and dragged him to the playground without a second thought. Because Kaken would always be his dear, sweet, heroic and wonderful friend. Nothing could change that. He would never change. But he did. Kaken, what are you dash? F off liar. He watched, in horror, when the blonde threw a fit at an adult with a lovely smile on their face and sweet candy in their hands. White skin scorned from the explosion, smelled disgustingly terrible. This was wrong. Kaken's quirk was sparkles and shiny stars, not blood and fire and pain. The adult screamed, a vulnerable victim under a monster's paws. I will kill you. Get thee away, liar. Kaken turned to look at him, and he screamed too. Kaken wasn't Kaken. Kaken was joyful, proud, loud, bright, brilliant. His Kaken couldn't be like this. A dying flame, a violent beast, screaming at everyone who dared to anticipate his space, his world. His eyes were charred, his hands sickly sweet with nitroglycerin, a ready weapon to execute any intruder. He learned to bare his fangs, raise his hands and burn everyone around him, even his parents. Even his Zuko. Midoriya was so scared, so he ran away from Kaken. Tears racing down chubby cheeks, wobbled legs, crying for his mom and, Kaken is cruel and mean. His mom comforted him, sweet-talking, and the same vanilla ice cone. It tasted like dust and tears, like the burning skin from Kaken's power. He didn't see the way those both so strange yet so familiar red eyes watching his footsteps, gravelly, old and tired and betrayed. The blonde looked back at the frightened adult, crushing the candy smelled of sick medicine and lies coating it, like how he crushed his little heart, trying to be free, trying to be the little boy without blood and death and loss and pain. Quirkless. Stupid. He wouldn't survive in this cruel world, and Bakugo didn't need his heart gone again. He didn't need to be close to someone who wouldn't understand, someone soft and kind and weak and full of broken promises and doomed to die. Kaken never called him Zuko again. He sighs, a weary sound, trying to keep the tears from running down his face like a demon crybaby, hands sweep them away quickly while he carefully side-eyes Ida. Midoriya smiles at his friend, so close to opening his mouth and giving him empty comfort, until explosions reach his ears. 3 pairs of eyes snap up, looking at the tall building. A surprise dawns on their faces. Kaken! The blonde doesn't pay them attention, blankly staring at the air next to him. He crooks his head to take a look, ready for the purple head of Mineta peeking out, or maybe Hagakure, because Bakugo always knows where the invisible girl is, which is impressive even if it sounds creepy as hell. But there is nothing. Just dirt and bricks. No sign of people. The little girl didn't appear from nowhere, nor this was the first time she stepped into his life. It just wasn't usual as it is now. She often haunted him. A walking nightmare. A reminder of what he'd done. How he'd failed. She wasn't real. She wasn't there. Not in real time. She'd died so long ago, but he still saw her sometimes on his terrible. When the nightmares persisted and he woke screaming from sleep. Voiceless and quiet, because noises were weaknesses, noises were bad, but the terror was so clear it spoke for itself. But she came randomly, rarely, so he pretended it was FANG normal. It was fine and he wasn't bothered. Now All Might had fallen. Because of him. Because of his flaws. So those walking nightmares had worsened. Raged against the dying light and stirring monsters. Memories of words and visages that might visit him every once in a while, now waiting for him around every corner. So is the little girl. Just as evil as others, because she didn't leave. She never leaves. I hate you. Bakugo ignores the people and scenes around him, blankly tells the girl. She smiles, still and sweet, but Bakugo doesn't. He needs sleep. He needs time. He needs to be away from her. But none of those things were willing to lend themselves to him. School needed him now regardless of his needs, and she would never let him go, like how he did. And Katsuki wasn't the type to say no. Todoroki clicks his tongue softly, eyes narrowed, annoyed. Ice begins to form at the tips of his fingers, an ugly, crappy hammer. Before anyone can stop him, he violently slams it against the brown wall near them. The loud cracking attracts the attention of some students near them, but Bakugo doesn't move an inch, still like a statue. What's wrong with him? He has dozed off, like 100 times today. Uraraka mumbles, lips pursed tightly. Ida nods, completely agreeing with her, remembering how the boy didn't really look at ectoplasm when the teacher taught them about trigonometry, something that required strict focus and lots of brain cells. He kept looking at Ojiro's tail, to the boy's confusion, and Ida had been ready to call him out, if not for the odd look in the red eyes. The same look crumbles his expression and taints his look into something ugly, something heart-wrenching. He looked like he is in pain. Todoroki says, as calm as he always is. The twitchy hands and blazing fire betrays him though, revealing the anxiousness they all feel from Bakugo's improper gestures. Heterochromic eyes widen in realization, voice so soft it's like a dream. Bakugo! He is hurt. Uraraka gasps, hands clap on her mouth tightly, too shocked to attack Todoroki with thousands of questions. It takes her a minute or two, but when she speaks, Midoriya admires the way her voice cries out steadily. The burning determination makes her words sharp and strong. How do you know, Todoroki-kun? And what exactly did you mean? Bakugo-kun is in pain. Todoroki turns to face them, and Midoriya is reminded of the darkness lurking behind the closed doors of Friend's house. The scorching skin, the ugly red mark, a tragedy, a pain that forced him to grow up faster than most of them. I can't tell you how, Uraraka, but I'm speaking the truth. He knows. He sees. He understands. He doesn't overlook. They don't overlook it. It's not his imagination. Not his fussy thoughts. Not him overthinking silly things. Kaken is in trouble. Not just any trouble. The same kind that changed him, took his Kaken away years ago, the same kind that robbed his innocence and pink glasses view. Ida accidentally knocks down a large stone when he almost falls over to stop Uraraka from launching herself right up to the building to confirm Todoroki's speech, bless her big heart, while Midoriya is trying so hard to keep his breath under control. Not like he really succeeds though. A summer day. A scream. A look. A death of childhood innocence. It happens again. But what? An event big enough to shake Kaken, to break him, to hurt him truly and cut so deep the wound can't heal fast enough to hide away. Something painful, something. All Might's fall. The battle. The Kamino incident. Of course. Why does he think Kaken is okay? Why do any of them think Kaken is okay? Who can be okay after that? Bullshit. Kidnapping and hurt and fighting, a whole emotional roller coaster trip with All Might's end and Kaken's dead eyes. Get lost, Deku. Kaken. He screams, hitching and panicking because if he doesn't do that, his friend will disappear. It will be his fault again. Because of his stupidity, his selfishness, he was hurt and he can't let Kaken get hurt again. Bakugo nearly jumps from the unexpected shouting, looks down from his position, eyes burning a hole into their soul. Uraraka gives him an encouraging smile, firmly holds his look, even waves him over like the friendly girl she is. That earns her a middle finger. Midoriya is not surprised, and a threat. Got to hell you dummies, or I will make you. Bakugo-kun, a hero should never be so rude toward his friends. Ida chops the air, not as thunderous as he normally will be towards the blonde's rudeness. In fact, Midoriya can see how he is trying to be softer, more careful in his scolding. We were just worried, you created an impressive crash and it could have affected your hand badly. I really respect your hard work, but overworking will hurt you. What if your hands fall off? I'm not called the hand crusher for nothing. Just ask Ida or Midoriya. Uraraka nearly cackles at Todoroki's mumbling, serious like he is telling Bakugo the secret of the whole universe. His chuckles come out, hysterical almost. Honestly, what exactly does his friend's brain store? Another theory about All Might and All for One being related? About Bakugo and him being secretly related? About Bakugo being not human but actually a devil wearing mortal skin to bring this world down to its knees? That doesn't sound impossible, though. Are you insane? The question carries out silently, soft like calm before storm. That I'm weak and I need your help? What? No. We didn't mean that. The gravity girl shrieks, hands flailing around, frustrated at how her good intentions are being misunderstood into such an insult. She tries to voice her thoughts in a soft way. We just care like how friends do. I don't want anyone to get hurt. That comes out wrong. So unbelievably wrong. They are ready for a shout, an offended curse or something more. But definitely not how his body stiffens, several spark rolls off his fingers dangerously, darkness crawls upon his face, almost monstrous. The blonde's anger shows so plainly he is sure everyone in the field can feel it. Not hot, not quick to come and quick to leave, it's effing roasting them non-stop like how a dragon will roar at the silly night. The inferno burns them to ash, teaching them a lesson. That they know nothing of him. That his normal tantrums are nothing compared to this. Bakugo laughs, an unexpected sound, but it is worse than his screaming, because none of them know how to deal with this laughter. Cold, razor-sharp and bitter, so bitter it hurts. Then he bares his teeth and talks, words so soft they make Todoroki wince. His eyes are dark in a way Midoriya doesn't like, and he feels his stomach clench at how dreadfully familiar it looks. Keep your shitty noses out of my business, or it will make your life a real nightmare. He whispers, and somehow, they know he means it. Bakugo dash. Extras. Bloody extras, all of you. Bakugo turns around, aiming his palms at the nearest building. Midoriya manages to cover his face just in time, using both of his hands, before the destruction comes. Dust rains down their bodies, stones and bricks shatter like useless paper, ears go deaf from that raging sound. It sounds like a scream. Shitty hair. Drag your butt over here. Through the dust, a veil separating them and the blonde, Midoriya can hear Bakugo shout impatiently, already blasting to somewhere further from them. You haven't finished the training. And you too, dunce face. He tries to look up. The keyword is try. His eyes are watery and his vision is blurred like he's looking through a cheap, low-quality camera. The dust must get into his mouth somehow, because his saliva is so gross. Yuck, can he cut his tongue off right now? That could have gone much better. Uraraka babbles during her coughing fit, and the three nods solemnly. He seems angrier than he usually is, and that's not something to be taken lightly. Todoroki makes some ice, melts it with his fire and gives them some so they can wash the dirt away. Fresh, chill water helps calming his racing heart, but not the lingering uneasiness in his mind. He has been through a lot. Ida takes down his glasses, eyes frown deeply in disapproval and concern. We should give him time to deal with it. It's not like that. His voice startles himself at how hostile it is. But Midoriya can't bring himself to care anymore. Not after he witnessed those eyes. Kaken is, something happened, this isn't normal. Just like how something wrong happened years ago on that day. The day Kaken was not Kaken anymore, but Midoriya was still a crybaby who was silly and stupid and lost the chance to be with Kaken again. The summer day of tragedy and lost friendship. Of his faults. Midoriya, breathe. You are panicking and that won't help Bakugo or your health. Ida's firm voice wakes him up, and Uraraka's gentle hands guide him away from the fear. But it's still there, in his heart and in his mind, a bitter thought. A bitter understanding. How Kaken turned his back. How Kaken didn't spare him a look or listen to him. Like how he didn't listen to Kaken. Different positions now. Karma is a real beach, isn't it? This isn't normal, it has never been normal. He whispers. It isn't. Todoroki agrees softly, lost in his thoughts. His right hand is pushing against his chest, not an injury, yet he feels so weird. Uncomfortably weird. But it's not important. What's important right now is Midoriya and his broken heart. Oh, Deku. The brunette hugs him, lets him rest his face in her shoulder, patting the shivering back steadily with her pinkies raised, grounding the poor boy. Don't worry. Bakugo is just being Bakugo, and we know he is not a feely guy. It will be okay. Indeed, my friend. The teachers and all of us will never allow our fellow classmate to be troubled so long without intervention. Midoriya shakes his head. That is not what he weeps about, years and years. Not what he should have known, but denied and ran away like he always does. Bakugo's world doesn't have Midoriya anymore. His childhood friend had become a stranger, raged against his help. This was wrong. They shouldn't be like this. Their friendship is not meant to be turned into this awful relationship. Midoriya doesn't want to accept that. If only Midoriya could see. If only he knew how to look underneath the underneath. A wounded little kid in wolf's clothing, terrified of this ugly world, of truth and lies and muted screaming. No one would come for him, so he acted out. So he fought, because that was the only thing he knew. Hatred was the only thing he could show to this filthy world. Disgusting blocks. Jobbernaut. All of them really need to understand when to stop, to respect people, before they end up losing their lives because of their curiosity. Maybe they want to help, a strange voice speaks up softly in his ears. Maybe they really care. Maybe they want to understand. Maybe they can help. Bakugo's reply is another explosion, loud and clear like a frustrated scream into the void. They can't. No one else can. And if they do? Why FNG now? Because they want to mock him. All Might's fall has shown them his weakness, and they just want to use their fake worry to hurt him more. All Might had fallen. The number one hero. His hero. The man who never lost. The symbol of victory. The person he looked up to more than anything else in the world, and it was Katsuki's fault. The guilt of that was dragging him down and making him slip. Slip back to those days of summer long ago. Because this wasn't the first time Katsuki had caused such a terrible tragedy. Nor it will be the last, if he may say. There is nothing to be called the worst event in his life, only worse and worse and worse and they think that they know. That they are so wise and talented and this world can't stand a chance against them. That they can heal him, save him from the nightmares and gore and ghosts. He almost wishes they weren't so naive, that they could see this world through his eyes. He almost wishes that it would help them somehow, 'Cause this job they choose has no place for innocence. Then he looks at Kirishima's smile when they chit-chat about something random. At Ishido's unwavering trust when she jumps onto his back, demanding a piggyback. At Kaminari's childish jokes when he tries to bribe him into movie night. At Siro's shitty grin and Jiraiya's fondly exhausted sigh as he flips everyone off because they're annoying. At Deku's watery eyes when he gets any compliment, no matter how stupid it sounds. At Uraraka's gasp when he makes her breakfast, because cheap food is trash. At Koda's shy smile when he saw Bakugo with a stray cat, caressing the delicate creature with a gentleness no one knew he possessed. At Yayarose's adoration when he showed her that folding clothes was not that hard, how could she be so oblivious? All those little moments, so small yet they felt like the whole world to him. He looks at the class's unflattering love, even to someone like him. Even to someone who will never love them back. And he shoves the wish straight down to hell, where the devil can't reach and the ghosts guard it. Because that's fang cruel and Bakugo won't wish that on any of his enemies. Not that he cares. Not on his friends. Not on his idiots. They know nothing of this world. Know nothing of killing blades hidden under fake sweetness. Know nothing about blood coating your hands and the voice of your friend, or maybe your own self, echoed through the muddy water. They know nothing, and Bakugo will be doomed if he lets them know. Not now. Not by revealing his own skeletons. They are too weak. They won't survive it, like how he did. He doesn't want them to lose their hopes and dreams yet. His ghosts. His issues. But it hurts. It doesn't. I want to get out of here. In his shady mind, it is the only thought for him to cling to. Like a drowning man fighting to take a grip at his last straw, desperate, hopeless. For something more. Something more than here, more than aching backs and broken minds. Clawing at the ceiling, why are his hands so ugly, trying to tear at the wall but he can't because he is chained and tied down and they will hurt him again? He stops and asks. No one answers. So rude. Are they playing a game? Hide and seek? But this is not fun, not like before. Can they stop now? He counts to thousands and billions already, but there is no voice telling him to start the game. His eyes hurt. Only I now. They never taught him losing an eyeball could hurt this much. Not hurt. Hurt is bad. Hurt is weakness. The pain is a lesson he shall learn. Because he is weak, so he is in pain. If he is stronger, I promise it will end. Soon, Kun. It didn't. It never did. Why did he lie? Why did he? Who is that? Who is that person telling him lies just like everyone? He can't tell anymore. The darkness hurts. It hurts in the same way light gives him hope and knives cut him open, fluid and liquid and chemical to help, but it doesn't help and he wants. He can't want. He doesn't have the right to. He is made to serve, he is made to fight. The blind man and hands and none are important. They aren't important. He doesn't care for. He begins to scratch again. Claws against metal. Broken then bleeding, flowing out of his body, not really blood but maybe the same. He knows that wet feeling, he learned it before. But he doesn't want to bleed alone. He wants chatting, whispering. Someone to talk to. Someone to care. He wants to feel. He wants to cry and smile and shout and... Where are they? Where is it? He clutches something in the air. A string. A feeling. He manages to, but then it's gone. He tries again, but it withers, curdles, dark and sour, and he is angry. So angry he wants to weep. The adults shout. He screams back. They hurt him again. The chains tighten. The pain increases. Why doesn't it go away? He knows he is being bad, but he doesn't care. He wants them. He wants them back. He sees them. Young, small, delicate, appealing. Sunshine and images. The light of his life. Hope and love. His friends. Variations of faces, grinning, scowling, determined. He holds his hand out. And then they leave. WHY 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 WHY. The claws. The scorned skin. The twisted flesh. Things eating his body, breaking his mind and messing with his thoughts. He is disgusting. He is not him. He needs to be smaller. Needs to get rid of. He breaks his hands. Will that help? Will that stop the squirming things under his skin? Is his body his? It feels wrong and uncomfortable. Will that bring them back? They come back. And they leave. He can't keep them. He bangs his head against the metal, blood and gore. He rolls on the floor, he scratches the walls again. He tries to call out, but his vocal cords are fed up, so all that's coming out is groaning and screeching. The adults come this time. He doesn't like it. So he fights and gets chained down tighter. Worse. I want to get out of here. He doesn't like here. He hates here, like how he hates knives and pain and green and water and the ground. Here is dark. Here is cold. Here is quiet. Here's no light. No sparks. No laughter. Nothing. He wiggles uncomfortably on the ground, darkness surrounding him and images flashing through his eyes like a broken video. He see blue, red, yellow, then red and blue. I promise, one day we will be free. I promise that I will carry you all to the sky. Let's fly together. He wants to fly. In the sky, where he belongs. The wind is gentle, sometimes stormy, always honest. Telling him stories, sweet and affectionate when ruffling his hair and kissing his smooth skin. Fly. Tap it. Out of here. Be free. Free. He doesn't want to be this. Doesn't want to be here. He wants to be. Come on. Let's play. Wait for me, please. What is his name? What are their names? Why can't he remember? He doesn't want to forget. He can't forget. So he engraves the walls, name and words and begging and blood and fluid, drawing and writing and weeping. He can't forget. Everything but this. Memories slip away, hands too big, too clumsy to pick up the pieces, to put it back into his mind, but his mind is worse and everything is falling apart. But he will remember. Boys. Katsuki, did you paint your nails? Bakugo whacks the top of Kaminari's head with a rolled notebook, the resulting loud shriek music to his ears, then glares in Jiru's direction with his not really said but still bitches scowl on his face. The girl is still staring non-stop at his left hand, resting on the floor, waiting for a chance to use the other notebook on Kirishima. Her question doesn't sound horrified in a negative way, not that he cares, so Bakugo's reply is kinda neutral. What? You nails. They are so pink. Let me see. Boom boom. Ashido scrambles to reach for his hand, only to be knocked away easily by a dictionary. The hammer of knowledge just killed me. I feel smarter. You don't get DMN smarter by being hit by a FENG English dictionary. It's not even FNG Oxford. You use the Oxford dictionary too, Bakugo-san? Yaoyorozu perks up from her position, eyes shining with joy and satisfaction. Which edition, may I ask? Full 20 volumes, idiot. And Tail just F'd up his equation. Ojiro flinches noticeably, looks up in alarm. How do you know? I have eyes, shithead. The blonde smirks, confidently writes down the last answer on his worksheet with a gorgeous ink pen, red and black. Kirishima whimpers pitifully, shrinking away because yes, he loves Bakugo very much, but his best friend can be so scary. Anyone who does their homework in pen is scary. Monster. I'm afraid he is correct, Ojiro-san. The point is here, you made a mistake in factoring, just a simple one, so don't worry. I suggest you use an extra paper and carefully work through the problems so you won't repeat it again. The vice president comforts her classmate, throwing a supportive smile toward Bakugo, who is shaking Ashido back to earth right now. Thank you so much, Bakugo-san. I'm so glad you decided to join our studying group tonight. Bakugo makes a face of conflicted emotion and decides that arguing doesn't worth his headache. It's all the stupid squad's fault, screaming about not wanting to fail another test since it's close to the provisional hero license exam, their records needing some as to make it better. He doesn't understand why they are so hopeless, because they can do more than this. They are more than just last in the class or failed tests, they are good. Good enough to get into UA, good enough to be FING here, so why can't they just focus a little more, try a little harder and be a little more serious? He doesn't get it, not fighting tooth and nail to get the best chance, to make sure you can survive. All that entertaining stuff, movies, games, why not studying? Why not something more productive? Something that can be useful in their lives? Bakugo bites his tongue to hold all the questions down, and keeps on nagging Kirishima that no, 20 volumes of dictionaries are not that weird. Hell if he doesn't have the best of all, because Bakugo Katsuki won't accept anything but the best. You didn't answer me, Bakugo. Did you paint your nails? Jiraiya speaks up again, crawling closer, half-finished homework in her hands, to get a better look. His nails are somehow gleaming under the light, clean and tidy. Not cut right down to the skin, the perfect length to draw on those nails and keep all the dirt away, smooth and nice. She is in awe, astonished, because the fact that someone rough like their Bakugo has such pretty nails is somehow ridiculous, yet wonderful and funny. No insult by the way. Clear polish. Don't want this sheet to be broken. He simply says, wanting this to end already because he still has some work to do. One literature project, only 3 weeks and a day left, with a 17-page long essay about hero history, though it's just his freaky need to learn more. But of course, when does Bakugo ever get what he wants? What the F is so interesting about his nails that now everyone is looking. You paint your nails? Oh, that's grape asking. Where is his knife? That's so cool. Which brand do you use, Bakugo-kun? Luckily, Uniform raises her voice before he manages to get his lovely Lily a appealing Navy SEAL SOD tactical knife with a customized sheath that makes it easily hidden in his clothes out and teaches that Mao some FING lessons. Grape sure has some potential, but even Bakugo will say his manner is lesser than a baby, DMN it. OPI, L'Oreal, Deborah, Dressel, only the best. Okay, I'm jealous. Marry me. I refuse. He slaps the grabby hand away. Don't ask how he sees that invisible hand, he has eyes. Ignoring her pouty fuss, Bakugo looks at Pinky's sad puppy eyes and sighs. What now? Paint my nails, Bakugo. I want to get decorated in my private jet. She shoves her hands toward his face, only to be sparked away harmlessly. Pretty please. With a cherry on top. You get an A next exam, and we will see. Bakugo snarls, his heart swelling up with strange emotion in her fiery eyes. If you ask, I have the whole Neopearl collection. All of the fancy colors, dumbass. Kaminari, give me back my F book. I need to study. Perfect. He will never admit this, forever a secret, but when Bakugo looks up and finds out all his friends have been knocked down by sleep and tiredness, he is the one who pulls a giant blanket from nowhere to make sure they won't catch a cold. Dumbass. Brainless dumbass with a capital D. He doesn't know how exactly he manages to stay awake. Pure spite? Friendship and love? Knowing that in his dream, they will be there? Blue bright eyes staring at him with disappointment, small hands grabbing and pulling him down, drowning, choking with blood, their blood. Yeah. Sleep is a no. Not now. Black as his soul and bitter as his hatred, sweet muse, the love of his life, true goddess of the world. Bakugo swears he will give up his life for a cup of pure black, super strong coffee right now, not the milky sheet in the fridge. If only he can make Beach come to the dorm and bully her into making him a cup. Oh, who is he even lying to? He will give anything just for Beach to be here right now. He misses her. Agonizing pain seething his heart as he holds back the cringy, soft words. He does. He really does. He misses her stupid laughter, her silly jokes, her embrace, just her presence is enough. To remind him of life. To remind him that everything is fine now. Bakugo spits out a messed up, ugly sound, hiding his face with his dry palms. His throat feels full of knives and stuff, cutting the sound and leaving it heartbreaking to people who hear. His sight is blurred, the whispers come back, irritating even if soothing and soft. He wishes they would just scream into his ears. Madness, malice, rage, shatters everything and pushes him down from the edge he has always tried so hard to cling to. He doesn't think he can contain this much longer. It's too much. All Might is too much. Deku is too much. Emotions are too much. Ghosts and guilt and death would have been a dear mercy. Why didn't it take him before? Katsuki? You there? Bakugo feels her, but he can't reply. Opening the bond will be too risky, Beach will know. Everyone always thinks she is dumb, careless, obvious, but her dreamy eyes see more than they can. He won't bother her because of this chaos. He is not weak. He is fine. I guess you are not there. Achin, fine. See you later. Still, he can still feel his hands reaching out for something. To cradle the warmth and keep it safe from this cruel world. A little bundle of hope to him. Bakugo shakily opens his eyes and he freezes. Bad decision. She looks back at him. Little girl. White, red, broken, dirty. Black eyes, red liquid. Pouring out of her small body, down to the floor. His hands are wet, sloppy, sticky, his feet are wet too. Unknown things soak through his socks, her blood, splatters everywhere. Like it just falls down from the sky and… Katsuki! Bakugo rushes to the kitchen. He almost steps on something, suspiciously Ojiro's tail because of its fluffiness, but Bakugo can't bring himself to care. The water comes too slow for his liking, his hands too wet, too red, too sticky. But Bakugo is not a child anymore, no more screaming and crying, he won't wake up his friends. So he rubs his hands harshly with a bar of lavender soap, 100 times or more, until his skin is raw and dry from the chemicals. Some cracks form, skin breaking, but his hands don't smell of salt and metal anymore, so Bakugo deems it good enough. For now. His socks are moist. But it's not red. It smells like lavender. The water actually spilled out of the sink. He needs a towel. A rag. Whatever to clean this mess. 'Cause the floor is wood, water will only cause it to be musty, which is not good. But he is tired. But the floor is dirty. And he doesn't like that. It looks muddy in the darkness, and his socks feel so weird. I blame this on you. All this sheet must have worn him so much. Bakugo finds himself talking to the little girl, who is curiously staring down at Tape's drooling face. She pps her head, the angle twisted and wrong, looking like a puppy wearing monster skin being kicked, and he is the one at fault. Like always. You ninny hammer. You pillock. Me. Bakugo nearly throws the rag into the darkness, hissing like a demon cat. But he manages to hold it back, drops it carefully on the sink, turns back with his hands, sparks up for some light. Those sleepy heterochromatic eyes stare back at him, blinking slowly like he didn't just give him a FING heart attack. What the hell are you doing here, Icy Hot? I'm thirsty. Todoroki shows him an empty mug, a Totoro-themed cup, which looks so ridiculous next to the boy's serious face. He almost cackles briefly and throws the loser an explosion, but it's midnight and he is not that rude to just wake everyone up because of sheer stupidity. Why don't you make your own water? I don't know, FING ice and fire? Ice melts when it meets fire and turns into water? Right. That I forgot. Lily, where are you right now? I need your lovely curve to cut this brain open. How can someone be such a pain in the butt? Inhale. Exhale. Keep calm and do. Commit. Murder. Then just get your water and F off. If you wish, Bakugo. He rolls his eyes so violently they are so close to falling off his face, walks out of the kitchen and gets back to his seat. His laptop is still on, the documentary film of old history already ending, and moves on to some random advertisement, washing hero and washing powder, something like that. The blonde shakes his head, turns on a new page to continue with the project. Gone missing. It is the 4th missing child this week, and there is no progress in finding them. All the parents are incredibly worried, because those mysterious villains only aim for young children aged between 7 to 12. His heart stops. The heroes are trying their best. The number 2 hero, Endeavor, also joined in the searching and rescuing plan, with the assistance of some potential new heroes. His breath hitches stiffly. The 4th missing child's identity is Hattori Itsuki, 9 years old. A little girl with black hair and pale blue eyes, 4 feet tall and wearing a white dress when she went missing. She was reported as missing 3 days after the 3rd victim. The whole world tilts. Bakugo doesn't know what happens next. How his shaking hands shut down the laptop, almost breaking it because he pushes the button so hard. How the pen falls out of his tight fist, dropping on Siro's face, who is cuddling Kirishima with all of his long limbs. How he slowly curls inward, face hidden by his hands, again, nails peeling the skin off his face, painfully, blood leaking out a little. How Todoroki calls his name to ask where the tea leaves are, but gets no answer. Everything fades into nothing one more time. He sees them clearly now. All of them, not just the little girl with the bloody body, not just meaningless voices or messy corpses. A chubby boy, a sheepish girl, a silly little nut, a knucklehead with yellow. His chest aches. The scar is throbbing. Knives and medicine. Digging and cutting and sealing and healing. Never healing. It will never heal. Bakugo wants to throw up. Wants to close his eyes and feel nothing more. Is looking at her not enough? Does this have to happen to him too? Is blood on his hands still nothing, so he must see? Must he witness old memories that are clear like it's just yesterday, cursing his mind, no matter how much he tries to hide and stop, and he sees the girl, red hair and brown eyes, dreamily singing soft, sweet lullabies which his tongue still remembers how to create. He sees a squeaky, annoying girl whose face is so blurred that he wants to scream. He sees a boy roaming the sky like a beast patrolling its territory. He sees a brat, young and small but heart the biggest and smiles the brightest. He sees images and voices and light and fake things but not really fake, since it still cracks his dark heart more and more. He sees white tulips and nighty-night. See you tomorrow. And he is back to the dorm. In the living room. Sandwiched between warm bodies and snoring idiots. His hands move down, flexing around his black shirt, the material crinkly and sweaty, feeling a beating heart and rough skin. His mind is warm and merry from the other side of the bond, just by her existence alone. You ignored me. He says nothing, does nothing. Just sits and stares at his palm. His face is itchy, maybe bleeding, his vision sways and he is tired as F-. But his heart is thrilling with an outside love and the bond is lively. Bye-bye, Mine. Bakugo laughs. A bittersweet, mirthless sound. But it still counts as a laughter, full of fond exasperation and helping to make the bubble in his chest fading away. He laughs, eyes dry like the Efengy Sahara, as he reaches back and brushes her mind's sanctuary with fierce, deep, unwavering care. He is the beast of Class 1A. He is the one who has everything and nothing. His heart is so black and evil that everyone who tries to touch it hurts and wilts. He wants to be the best, and pities those who dare to stay in his way. And yet he can't ever stop himself from laughing, from feeling warm and comfortable when Beach speaks up. Fuff Beach. Bakugo imagines pinching her cheeks and enjoying the view of those unblinking, soft earthy eyes blooming with fake anger and amusement. Is Beach truly unbelievable? Something special, something? Bakugo? You there? He forgot Todoroki. Why the hell is he still there? Why does Bakugo always get stuck with shitty mistakes and people who manage to survive with a lack of such basic comprehension? Here. That I can't find the container. And I want tea. What tea? The weak, sweet thing you guys drink? With 9 parts of milk and 1 part of tea. Just regular tea. He inhales slowly, wiping the pinkish sweat away from his face, the scratch marks stinging but not unbearable. Because of that, he doesn't see the way Todoroki's eyes linger on the red mark on his forehead, or how his cup is freezing and dripping from anxiety. Oh, he has water now. How nice. If he does, Bakugo is still too worn out to care. Holding the laptop and all of the books, the blonde stands up and readies himself for a sleep. Can you help me? Is today Torture Bakugo Day, or something? Why is everything so? If you do, I will get back to my room. Immediately. Or can't you make tea? 0.5 minutes and I will give you the strongest ever. Lovely. Bakugo shoves his things on top of the sofa, in the empty space between Hagikure's invisible thigh and Jiru's open arms. The tea leaves, his precious, costly tea leaves, are at the corner of the cupboard, safe from other fuckers' bottomless pits of hunger. He usually spends it on a study night or bad day, which is most of his life to be honest, but somehow, he is using it to get icy hot away right now. His brain is really a bunch of trash and messed up neurons, isn't it? Sugar or not? 2 spoons, please. Put it in yourself. Where dash? Never mind. Hand me your cup. The Totoro cup looks even more comical in his hand, smiley faces and funny features. Bakugo stomps down the sudden wish to throw it into Icy Hot's face, watching the black tea pouring inside the cup, adding some sugar and ice cubes to cool it down a little. He won't mention how he wraps a tissue around the cup because he knows that half and half is an idiot and his reflex action is freezing everything hotter than a human body. He does this because he is annoyed with cleaning the mess, not because he knows that the dummy loves this cup and will be sadder than a puppy if he loses it. Nope, not at all. Todoroki seems to understand it though, a mischievous smile blooming on his pretty face as Bakugo moves the drink into his waiting hands. The explosion user mumbles incomprehensible why, getting all his items and rushing toward the stairs. From the corner of his eyes, Bakugo manages to catch that stupid beaming smile as the teen sips his tea, clearly happy with the taste. He will rather die than acknowledge the fact that he is grinning in pride because of such silly things. Gosh, what an butt. But he is not that helpless, not so stupid he can't make his own drink or find what he needs. What? Why bother Bakugo really? The answer comes right after the question arrives. He doesn't feel that bad anymore. When his back hits the soft texture of the bed, it's in that moment Bakugo faintly thinks, realization dawning on him, that the aching is gone now. Beach helped, and somehow seeing the faces of all those knuckleheads helped too. He can still smell fresh tea, and it's surprisingly relaxing. Making the tea has taken most of the remaining adrenaline, so his body is in a calming tired state. It's the best he can ask for. Did Icy Hot do that on purpose? That shithead. He whispers, horrified when it comes out in an affectionate way rather than the harsh meaning he wants. I'm getting soft, aren't I? This life. I hate them so much. And so Bakugo drowses off with the first smile in days on his lips, for once not afraid of the incoming dream awaiting him in the land of sleep. He dreams of soft smiles and black tea that night. Hello everyone. I'm sorry this is not a new chapter, but I have some good evil news for you. First of all, as you can see, this is an AU of Bakugo with Bond. I'm calling it Bond, AU for now because I don't have any good name yet. This, however, it's a close crossover to Kisnaver content about their bond and stuff. However, my mind decided to be a beach and I just have some new idea for another branch of Bond, so I will gather it all in a collection, a series kinda, and post it on AO3. Fast warning though. The new idea I'm currently possessing and writing is even worse than the angst in this FIC, laughing face. Hee. I'm kidding. Maybe. You will get that idea in the new FIC I'm writing. Plan is I will post it on Bakugo's birthday. Secondly, some of the kids are my OC. I will also post their images in the future, if any of you interested in laughing face. Lastly, any questions about the FIC and the AU can be asked in the comment. I will try my best to answer them, but I won't answer spoiler-contained questions immediately. I will answer that when the chapter comes, in the chapter's note XD. So yup. If you are confused and want to ask anything, just ask. I will gladly help you. Though, please be careful with your words. If the question is insulting and rude, I'm afraid I won't answer and just erase it, 'cause I don't want to waste my time, laughing face. Thank you for reading this note. Have a good day you all. The whole class is in chaos, and Bakugo watches them struggle with great pleasure. Oh, the reason is so simple yet complicated, and means more than just words and sentences. A whole future, hopes and dreams, all tucked into 3 words. Provisional license exam. You know, Bakugo-kun. Ectoplasm's clone announces with surprise and joy as he dodges his punch, then lets out a painful gasp as the blonde's leg comes up and nearly breaks his ribs. You don't seem to be nervous. May I ask why? Why should I be FNG nervous? Bakugo barks out a laugh, hooking the right side of the clone's waist and exploding, sugar and smoke filling the air in the wonderful harmony of battle. When I know I'm the best? They trained like crazy just a few days before, went fully plus ultra, risking everything to take the step, closer to their dream, to their future. Bakugo is sure that he got some muscles torn, bones broken and long-lasting bruises, but it's better now. He pushes too hard, because he can't afford to fail. Fail him. Fail them. Fail her. This is our dream. We will carry on and be legendary. Very confident, I see. The teacher looks weirdly pleased, which only earns him another punch to the face, right at the nose this time. But please remember to take care of yourself. Overworking is more dangerous than you can see. Resting is as important as training. Yeah. Enough of that stupid thing, just fight me. A couple minutes pass by, and the clone soon reduces to smoke and dust, fueling his ego and making him forget all the CRP that has been at his back for years. The ghosts are calm today. He has only seen her one time in the morning, so maybe everything will return to normal soon. And when everything falls back into a routine, those BSTRDS called his classmates will just focus on their stuff and ignore him, for FNG's sake. Uraraka-kun, please focus on your enemy. That's right, Beach. Focus on ectoplasm and not him, God. The best thing he can ask for is that their looks don't seem to radiate teenagers' significant lust and stupid herm, because he will scream. That's gross shit. Man, are you even real, bro? Why the heck are you good at everything? Kaminari whines, pale skin colored by bruises and dust, his eyes dozed off, close to the stupid state, so Bakugo quietly shoves him by his shoulder, making the other boy leaning against a wall to keep him steady. Like, you are the definition of perfection, bro? What now, you know more than one language and being a model? He snorts, and almost lets the answer slip through ground teeth. No way. Are you serious? Focus on your sheet, dunce face. I thought I was Pikachu. I wanna be Pikachu. Why is this his life now? Kaminari annoys you again? Zero laughs as he lands gracefully right next to them, causing dust to fly around like some freaking cloud. His lopsided grin tells that he clearly means it. What a beach. Please don't kill him, bro. He doesn't deserve it. Hello? I'm here. He hears some gagging noises and a not very subtle giggling. Even earlobes is being ridiculous today, for real? He gives a middle finger to his back and flies up to a bigger boulder, getting away from this sheer stupidity. The horror image from that night does have some impact, making his mind empty and dangerously calm, maybe from too much pain and fear, so Bakugo manages to pick up his weak butt and claw himself to the best he can ever be. That's not really bad though, a sick way of coping that he's made up after years and years. It's almost a routine now. Only this time it's more disgusting, wrong and effed up. Stop right now. He is not going down that road. Why is his mind so pessimistic and silly these days? He has some moves already prepared, badass names, but they need more training because he is not going to slack off with his head in the clouds just because he is a few steps ahead of everyone. No, he will allow himself to slightly slack off when he is 6 feet under, withering to rotten flesh and ugly bones. Then he will rise and fight death because it's a beach. AFANG beach, with a capital B. What a banquet of madness. Tokoyami whispers from the left corner, covered in dim light, trying to pull Dark Shadow back to his side. Shall it be the apocalypse? It will be a halcyon compared to this. When the apocalypse comes, I will make sure that you can rest with your madness. Your kindness flatters me. The blonde throws a quick flashy explosion toward the emo boy, ignoring the angry squawk of Dark Shadow. After shooing the boy away, Bakugo focuses all of his control on a 3-foot rock, palms warming up for the AP shot. Just a little more and... He knows he just FANG jinxed his life. Can you leave me alone? Bakugo angrily shoots the explosion to a different side, breaking half and half's ice into crumbling pieces. For FING. Minutes. The girl sitting on top of the rock softly blinks. Do ghosts have eyelids? And puts her knees close to her chest, curling up into herself like a shitty cat. Wet, black hair covers the rest of her face, saving him from looking at that bloody mess. Cat, what's wrong? You free today or what? For some reasons, maybe because he is too tired and used to her presence, Bakugo doesn't waver as he stares straight at the little girl, annoying. I got sheet things here. Wanna sing with me? She is not. This is the song that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because. This is the song that never ends, yes it goes on and on my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because. This is the song that never ends. Bakugo growls, covering his ears physically because this is so effing unbearable. But he knows why she sings that song, and he knows this will not last longer than half an hour, so he just grinds his teeth and gets through it. Udiaman Beach. This is the song that never ends, yes it goes on and on my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because. This is the song that never ends. Young Bakugo, you fine up there? The concerned male voice draws his attention away from the awful song in his head, so Bakugo looks down from the edges of the boulder and sees dreadfully familiar bright yellow hair on a walking skeleton's head. None of your business. He shouts out, noticing the way the girl next to him also looks down at All Might's broken arm, hanging in front of his skinny chest. Get out of here. He is right, All Might. This place can be dangerous to you, and I can't make sure I'm capable of keeping you safe. Cementos tells him seriously. The man chuckles shyly, scratching his head with the other hand and nods. Blue eyes, though, still stare at the other side of the room, where Bakugo may or may not hear some disgusting mumbles. Of course. Of course. If you are worried for your precious student, words come out of his mouth, more bitter than he wants to, but he doesn't really care. Just go over and call him, for F's sake. Thank you, young Bakugo, but young Midoriya needs his time. An old man like me shouldn't bother him for nothing. All Might waves it off, turning around to talk to Aizawa for something, unaware of how red eyes darken like a stormy sunset. His throat is choked with feelings, displeasing feelings, an ugly realization, so suddenly it startles Beach and stops her song. The silence after that is even more distressing for Bakugo, so he pulls at the bond with unspoken begging. And so she sings again, but not that song anymore. Did you get enough love, my little dove? Why do you cry? He loves the song, but now it's not enough to get him out of the self-hatred he desperately tries to hide. He could have heard All Might. His hero. His savior. The one who fell and broke because of him, and this is how he returns the favor? How ungrateful he is, how monstrous, how terrible, how... And I'm sorry I left, but it was for the best. Though it never felt right. My little Versailles. The hospital asked should the body be cast. Before I say goodbye, my star in the sky. Such a funny thought to wrap you up in cloth. Do you find it all right, my dragonfly? Bakugo, show me your new move. Mina comes from absolutely nowhere, eyes shining with curiosity. I just saw it passing by. It looks so cool. If you focused more on yourself instead, maybe you wouldn't be so stupid. Boom boom. Don't be such a JRK to me. The pink girl pouts and stomps her feet like a little girl. Some acid lingering on her skin splashes, causing more dust and melted rock. The rock where the girl is sitting melts too, and it's an odd joy to see her jump up and duck behind another rock, scared and bewildered at the same time, from her body language. Bakugo finds himself laughing, an unexpected sound coming out naturally, so he gives her pity and fires some badass AP shots, creating a well-shaped V sign. V for victory. So cool. Raccoon Eyes is so excited that she jumps up his back, wrapping hands around his neck in a suffocation hug. Boom boom, the new badass hero. What the hell you want to die, you fucker? Bakugo stumbles from the surprise force. He frowns angrily, spewing insults and swearing and trying to shake her off, only to feel her warm heat pressing against his body, as stubborn as its owner. What the F is wrong with you? My mommy dropped me when I was born. Ugh dash, Bakugo gives up. He doesn't want to bicker with her anymore, he will get nerve damage, so he lets Raccoon Eyes hug him tightly. And if her arms clench a little bit too tight she is afraid of his absent eyes, of the disappeared light in those bright red jewels she loves so much, of he looking just like that, lost and young and scared and dash. Bakugo doesn't speak up or mock her because of that. Shall we look at the moon, my little loon? Why do you cry? Make the most of your life while it is rife. While it is light. Are you singing boom boom? Beach hasn't stopped, And Bakugu is so distracted by her soft voice that he doesn't notice he is grumbling alongside it, to Mina's delight. She doesn't know Boom Boom can sing, and yes, he sings well, voice low and soothing and so goddamn and appealing that she presses closer to listen, not understanding but still in love. What's that song? Tell me, tell me. Get off. Bakugu doesn't blush. He doesn't, not even a little bit. He just walks faster to escape from this hellhound and that devil, not because he is embarrassed, damn it. Her laughter tells him that she doesn't care. Not at all. What a beach. Happy? Shut up. Maybe, just maybe, he needs this too. Maybe he wants this too, not because they remind him so bad of his loved one, but because they are his idiots and they care, don't they? Even if he doesn't love them. When does he become so soft? When does he let down his guard? Just don't come any closer, you dumb brain. I hate you so much. Come any closer and you will burn. If Bakugu thought that the training for super moves was chaos, then this is, according to Tokoyami, a DMN apocalypse. Let him repeat the question, how can these people be so annoying? What if I fail? What if my electricity is not enough? I will become a joke. It's not that bad, bro. Everything will be dash. You are a joke. Bakugu ignores Kaminari's dramatic gasp, too busy in the kitchen to really care. The wailing that comes after is music to his ear, and maybe to Jairu too, because her grin is just as evil. The blonde opens the fridge, scrunches his nose at the filthy trash food inside, the cold soba is still there for FNG out loud, picks his pork out and closes the garbage. He takes out some soy sauce, mirin, sake, pepper, onion and eggs, among other things. The knife makes a sharp, chilling sound against the yellow wooden chopping board, attracting eyes from some sheet heads in the living room. Bakugu gives no sheet and starts cracking eggs into a bowl, then pouring flour and crumbling bread in two other separated bowls. After tenderizing the pork, he dips it into flour, then egg, then flour, and egg again, and finally the bread, coating it perfectly. He takes another look at the living room, then dumps more into the bowls. What are you making, dude? It looks so good. Siro whispers, eyes twinkling with awe. He hits him with a spatula as the boy tries to taste the dashi he made yesterday. With dirty hands. Pfuff. Can I help? Big Lips approaches him hesitantly, but his expression is oddly determined. So Bakugu purses his lips and points to the unprepared sauce. Mix the dashi, soy sauce, sake, mirin, but don't you dare touch the sugar. Then get me 2 pans of oil and heat it well, 1 midly hot, 1 boiling hot, or I will kill you. Got it? Having a helping hand really does help, especially when that helping hand knows what to do to not trigger him, so Bakugu moves and cuts the onion, wets the knife first of course, because he doesn't want teary eyes and this is a neat trick he learns before. And then Todoroki pops up, bends slowly towards the onion and hisses like a cat curiosity his butt. You idiot, don't rub it. It hurts. Press your palm against your eyes, stupid moron. Todoroki, what's wrong? Ida frantically fusses over half and half, barely jerks away in time when Bakugu swats the knife with its sharp part at him. Bakukun, that's dash. Get the F away from my kitchen. He throws broken eggshells at the hiding classmates. Or you won't get any food. Jairu pokes Kaminari's ear and drags him out, forcefully. Todoroki, after washing his eyes, is also pulled away from his sanctuary by Uraraka, who is dead set on free food. Kirishima smiles sheepishly, like a puppy, so Bakugu just sighs and lets him help with chopping onion. Why do you want to cook today? Because I'm a human and I know hunger, you knucklehead. Now shut up and mix those eggs. Yes, chef. The pork is well fried, crispy with brown edges, and smells like a piece of heaven. He allows Big Lips to taste his secret recipe, yam mixture in the flour and deep fried 2 times with 2 pans of oil. The extra looks like he just got proposed to by midnight and praised by Aizawa. Are those tears in his eyes? What a joke. Marry me. Get lost. Bakugu hits Kirishima again. With his spatula, steams the pork in sauce, onion and eggs. The rice is made by Big Lips, perfectly soft, and too much that he knows can feed a DMN feast, not just 20 hungry BS yardis. I'm officially Bokugu-oriented. Mina shrieks from the sofa, lying on her stomach with some chocolate cookies to hold her hunger down. He rolls his eyes and stirs the hot sauce in a different pan, for him alone of course, for those extras are weak as F, and have no idea how to appreciate a good burn in the mouth. I thought you were bi? That stands for Bakugu's idol. Beach's imagination. He murmurs, carrying his katsudon to the table and sitting on the farthest chair, away from this bullshit. His body doesn't shy away from Kirishima's hands though, as the red hair hugs him tightly, mimicking Mina ironically, screaming about manliness and sheet. Deku looks at the katsudon in his hand like it's the whole all-might limited item collection he desires like a thirsty hoe he is. If you don't eat it, just throw it away, Deku. No! Uraraka snaps, knuckles turn white as she grips the bowl too hard it almost flies up. No one is wasting food ever. I won't kaken. It's just, it has been a long time. The smile on the nerd's face is fond and nostalgic, causing his stomach to squirm. He remembers too, of course, how he used to go straight to Auntie to help her cook katsudon whenever Deku was nervous for sheet things or maybe when he was sick. They were young and foolish, believing how a bowl of food could cure anything in the world, friendship and disgusting trash like that. And he is sick to admit, but maybe when he grabbed the pork loin, he already knew that he would make katsudon, because all the extras look so stressed and Deku would faint without his comfort food. He hates Deku so much he doesn't, and he hates himself even more for it. Just eat and get out of my sight, Deku. The smile in reply is ignored, because he doesn't want to waste food thrashing it against that stupid face. Nope. Focus on the juicy, tender, spicy meat in his mouth and delicious rice and miso and no Deku in his life. I can't wait for the exam, OMG. Don't talk with food in your mouth. Yes, Mom. Kaminari pouts and earns another hit. Mother hen. Huh, but seriously we will be fine, Cammy. We just need to try our best. Yeah. Do you think we will be okay, bro? Siro asks, and watches bemused as Bakugu chews at the meat with sharp teeth, viciously. I will be the effing best. Ugh. Relax, bro. You trained like a Spartan last week. I know you will be fine. You are so serious with your dream, it's manly. Bakugu keeps eating, eyes distant, relishing the taste and not at the soft whisper of a voice, bitter and cranky. Not really a dream, shitty hair. Not really a dream. Aizawa crawls to the room because of the noise, right after Bakugu finishes his dish and rushes to his room, pretending not to care at the way the man's eyes fix on the warm food with his name written on it by hot sauce with an unblinking stare. The elevator closes right at the moment Aizawa looks at him, eyes meet eyes. There is something in those dark, sharp yet tired eyes, making him uncomfortable but also itching in a nice way. He is thankful that he goes to his room now, because sappy stuff is never his strength. Tomorrow is the day. Bakugu thinks when he locks the door carefully, feeling his insides freeze. The thought is so distressing and the emotional storm wailing in his head is a little too much, but Bakugu clings onto it. He is almost there. They're almost there. When he gets the license and is able to poke his nose in some hero stuff, he can afford to go to some dangerous business. It means he is strong, not as much as he wants, but that's enough for now. That means he can take a step further, but not to his dream. Not just his dream. One step closer to make people listen. The wall was white, the crystal was clear, and they could see. Machines and knives, scalpers and medicines. A hospital, but not really a hospital. Forgotten, lost in nowhere, no one would come here. The land is soft under their legs, the houses without people but full of ghosts surrounding, pushing them to run faster. Faster, before they reached the land of living. They tried to call for help, but no one remembered. No one understood. No one cared. They didn't listen. Didn't. Bakugu thinks, angry and devastated. Or couldn't. Muted voices, meaningless words instead of sweet names out of his mouth, tasting like ashes and pain flashing through his body and bonds, and they were screaming to make it stop. What happened that year, he wouldn't let it sleep forever. There is no gravestone. No mark. No name for people to know, to hear their stories because they couldn't. The survivors couldn't talk about that night. The survivor couldn't call for help and the victims were neglected. But it's different now. He can be a hero now. He has a bigger benefit from it and can afford information without being suspicious. Just some patrol to a problematic land that makes him feel like he is living in dreams and lies, and he can call for the hero to come because they won't take his words for granted anymore. He can finally. His classmates worry for him because they don't understand his need to fight. His need to be a hero. To be listened to. They don't understand his burden. It started off as a sad dream carried on to make his loved ones proud, but then he thought and he figured out that his words meant something as a hero. And then it became urgent, desperate, something he would burn for. They struggle to live. To survive. To be free. To matter. To save. To not forget. The dead live in the living memories they can't forget. Soon. Bakugo whispers to nothing. The darkness swirls, shifts, a weight pushing him down, but he bears it on his shoulder and keeps his head high. His feet are wet again, smearing dust on the floor, bare flesh against cold wooden. Soon. It sounds like a promise. It sounds like truth. It will never be a lie. I will set you free. He tells the girl hoarsely, because she is dead and the world is cruel and the others are waiting, rotten hearts and choked lungs and withered bonds. I will make this world hear your story. He will be a hero and spreads the truth to those kept in the dark for too long. Bakugo leans his back against the wall, taking deep and low breaths. His hands slowly uncurl, focusing on the promise, the humming gently of beach on the other side of his mind. If he lets himself go further spiritually, he can feel fabric on his fingertips and taste sugar on his tongue. He weaves his mind in the bond and never lets go, fire and light. Everything will be fine. He has time. The ghosts can wait. Everything will be fine tomorrow. The exam will be fine. He studied through 20 chapters of basic needs in rescue and training almost 24/7 the whole week. He has this. Bakugo falls asleep in his bed peacefully. You jinxed it again. The next morning, when Kirishima opens Bakugo's door because he is late and they need to leave, wake up sleepyhead. The room is empty, smells like sugar and smoke with posters and books on the shelf. The window is opened, dark blue curtains fly with the wind coming from outside of the room. The bed is mussed with slightly burnt blanket and messy pillows. But it's quiet. There is a freak-out. A panicked scream, echoing in the dorm and gathering everyone to the room. Tears are shed and voices call out and teachers come and cameras turn on and research and phones call unanswered. Bakugo is gone. I thought that. Ms. Joke starts, voice bubbly and curious. You said your class has 20 kids? Aizawa slumps harder against his scarf and sighs. I did. Then maybe I have some problem with counting, but there are only 19? Who is Dash? Bakugo. His missing student's name tastes like failure and frustration on his tongue, but Aizawa swallows it and forces himself to answer her question. He ran away from the dorm last night. We couldn't contact him, and there is no sign of villains or things. There isn't, because he spent the whole morning watching the record repeatedly, burning with worry and true fear as the night passed silently, too silent, the calm before the storm. There was no explosion, no screaming, no light, nothing. But there was Bakugo. His student, in a black shirt and sweatpants and a large jacket, storming out of the gate so fast his blonde hair looked like a lightning strike. His hands were curling so tight they were bleeding, eyes glazed and cold and full of terror. Bakugo, the prideful, brave, wonderful, troublesome Bakugo who spat in villains' faces and blasted at the dead, was terrified of something. And the teachers failed to protect him, to stop him. What had happened? He gravely thinks. Why couldn't his student get a break? Why his class? Why Bakugo? And of course it had to be last night that the Numu, captured by Endeavor and chained down in Tartarus, decided to throw a fit and alarm every hero. The surprise violence and screaming nearly broke the wall and glass, so Aizawa and lots of other heroes were required to hold it back. The bruises on his shoulder and dislocated wrists ache, reminding him of why the heroes were freaked out and so Yude accidentally let down its guard, resulting in the disappearance of Bakugo. Aizawa has never felt this tired in his entire life. He gets more gray hairs just from teaching this class than he does in his job, and there is one lock he secretly named after Bakugo, Because it popped up the day after his kidnapping and grows with every problem the kid caused. The Midoriya one is growing too, but currently, Bakugo is still in first place. That's the kid. He grumbles, almost fondly. Never goes for anything less than the best, even if it's killing his teacher slowly. Well, that's F-ed up. Ms. Joke flinches, placing a hand on his shoulder in an appreciated action of comfort. I pity you, Shota. Aizawa doesn't reply, too focused on his own regret and the broken-heartedness showing on his other kids' expressions. Midoriya hasn't stopped crying since he saw the empty room. Kirishima looked like an abandoned puppy, so you had to use her tongue to hold Uraraka down because the girl was so distressed that she hid in the upper corner of the living room. Siro's grin turned straightly down and Todoroki. Todoroki looked so lost and scared. He is gone again. The poor boy whispered when he thought no one was listening, and Aizawa would have missed it if he didn't focus. He is gone again. The kids are traumatized, all of them, because their classmate is gone, the same classmate they nearly lost to the darkness if not for Yaoyorozu's quick thinking. Even worse? This time, they have no idea how to find him. Aizawa's fingers clench so tight the skin in his palm almost breaks and bleeds. He takes a deep breath and buries his face in his hands in a moment of vulnerability. His hands are shaking, but he doesn't care. He just wants this world to stop being a beach and leave his students alone. For FS sake, they are teenagers and shouldn't go through all this bullshit. He will give Bakugo in the worst detention ever if when he comes back. Please come back. I hate this. Mina tells them, building up a wall of acid to keep the ball coming from their rivals. Mina-chan. I hate this. Mina tells them, fiercely, her eyes wet with unshed tears, voice cracking at the last words. I hate being here when Boom Boom is dash. Not here. Gone. Disappeared. She channels her grief into anger as her knuckle slams against someone's stomach violently, knocking them out and hitting a point. The ball in her hands is dangerously close to melting into useless pulp, so Mina throws it away and takes a new one. Hagakure quietly puts her glove on the pink girl's back, feeling the small shivering echoing her trembling heart. I'm so sorry, Mina-chan. The invisible girl whispers softly, and Mina wants to weep because she doesn't want softness right now. She wants shouting, screaming, rough cackles, smug smirks. She wants Bakugo's feral laughter as he beats everyone up and fights for first place, wants Bakugo to be here, safe and sound, and she spits her acid at an ambush from her left, a werewolf with dangerous fangs and claws, growling at her like she is weak and he is strong. So Mina growls back, just like how she remembers hearing Bakugo did before, deep angry noise coming from her throat, forcing out of ground teeth, threatening and strong. It sounds like a wound heart's crying, so she kicks his butt to hide that away. Ashido-san, Ojiro hesitantly speaks up, so nervous he can't look her straight at the eyes. If you don't feel well, maybe dash? No? Mina cuts off his words before the idea dares to pop up. I'm not going to give up. But Mina-chan. Boom Boom would laugh at me for being such a wuss. She grins, forced but still a full grin nonetheless. I won't let him down. God knows how hard it is for her to say that, because Mina knows that she would rather be anywhere but here. Because being here means she is useless in searching for Bakugo. Because being here feels like a betrayal, when Bakugo is in danger or somewhere else and she is busy with this stupid exam so she has to let him down. Because being here without her Boom Boom is meaningless. What kind of hero abandons her friend? The worst of the worst. But what can she do now? Oh, what can she do but throw a tantrum at these innocent rivals? What can she do but try to fight a nonsense battle, while outside Bakugo is fighting the FING war for his life? There is nothing that allows her to follow him. Nothing for her to find him and save him. No magical Momo, no brave Midoriya, nothing. All she can do is hope and fight for his dream. Fight to be the best so when he comes back, she will cry, laugh, give him the biggest hug ever and tell him how he missed all of her badass moments. She is not a girl of God or a believer, but right now, Mina catches herself whispering desperate prayer under her breath every time she hears something similar to an explosion or a glimpse of ash blonde color. She prays to every god who hears and listens and cares to give him back to her. To them. She prays for this world's kindness, and for it to not be so cruel to crush their hope with the worst outcome. Nothing. Todoroki watches as Midoriya shudders, trembling so hard it makes him look weak and fragile, and shakes his head dreadfully. The phone in his hand is steady, however, as the box chat with the name, Kaken, on the top of the screen is still empty. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing is bad. Very bad. He is not. No signal. I see. Maybe that means he is not in danger then. It's an awful attempt at comfort, but he is pleased when the green-haired teen snickers wetly. Even when he is in danger, he won't call me. Or anyone. He is just not one who calls out for help. Midoriya whispers fondly, falling back into memories of their childhood, which he treasures and loves with all his heart. Too prideful? Kaken. Has he always been? So. Not really. Back then he used to be different. It was after he got his quirk that he changed. Midoriya swallows and stays silent. The phone almost breaks from the sheer force in his grip, so Todoroki reaches out and takes it away, replacing it with a piece of ice for him to use for stress relief. He is so bright. So unstoppable, everyone believed he would be the best. He was kind once, he was more than who he is now. Midoriya keeps talking about Kaken, because silence is choking, and to stay quiet feels like mourning. He doesn't like mourning because it's for the dead, and Kaken is alive. He is. Was it just his quirk? Todoroki questions, doubting how much people can really change just from such a thing. Even his father takes more than that to really change, and Bakugo seems to be not such a simple case of arrogance. The boy is more than that. More than just his flashy quirk, snarky comments, awful nicknames, rude behavior and loudness. There is a different side of him, calculated, careful, so dim and smart and FENG genius with cat-like footsteps when he wants. He thinks of a theory about Bakugo being the secret child of Aizawa-sensei before, and maybe it's actually correct this time. Does that mean Midoriya is related to Aizawa too, because the boy seems like a sibling to Bakugo that he both hates and loves? And Todoroki finds himself disagreeing when Midoriya speaks of Bakugo's old kindness. He has seen it after all, the way he looks at anyone in his squad when they're being an idiot or when something funny comes up to his face, the dim light in those red eyes. So faint, so little, so quick to leave yet it shines and lights up his expression like fireworks. He never wants help. I know he is strong but he can't deal with everything. Jesus. Hide it away because it's meaningless and it means he loves and he should never love. His love burns people. Maybe it's not like that? Todoroki suddenly thinks, remembering the blonde's strange expression as they looked up at him from under the old building, pained and dark with a touch of mocking humor. Maybe he doesn't call for help because he doesn't think anyone actually cares. The thought came up randomly, but wouldn't go away because it sounds too close to the truth. But it's not time to talk about it, when Midoriya's face is messed up with tears and sorrow and the stupid exam is still going on. So Todoroki, with his most serious face, folds his hand and PPS his head. So, you guys are childhood friend? Yeah. Did he have black hair and dye it to hide his identity as Aizawa-sensei's secret love child? Take it back. Kirishima, sweet, gentle, ball of sunshine Kirishima, coldly tells the older student, a Shiketsu one, when they get a small break after the first exam. The purple teen glares at them, squinting his eyes disapprovingly. How inappropriate for you to talk to your senior like that. I don't care. Take it back what you said about my best friend. He bares his teeth, almost hissing, which attracts the attention of some candidates. Kaminari tries to hold him down, but the redhead shrugs his touch off and continues his demand. I only speak the truth that you ignore. Seiji holds his head high, eyes narrow. He is rude with no dignity, which only sullies the respectful image of your school. Such a vulgar beast, with no bravery to face the first challenge in his dream. There are some growling sounds from the girl group, and Kirishima can hear dark shadows shrieking from the corner. Ida and Yaoyorozu stand up, mouths open, ready to defend their classmate, but all is lost to the low, dangerously calming tone of his own words. Bakugo is more than that. His words ring with unwavering certainty. You know nothing about him. You don't know anything. I, as a proper hero in training, know enough to say that your friend, he sneers, needs a lesson beaten into him to learn the appropriate way of acting like a real hero. A girl with brown hair, a beauty that rivals Yaoyorozu and a deadly body that makes Mineta splutters with longing, approaches Seiji and smiles dreamily. Midoriya blushes as he realizes who she is, doing his best not to stare at those round, bouncy melons and waving hips. It's not fighting time, guys. But why isn't he here right now? She curiously tilts her head, eyes gleaming with hidden emotion. Is he sick? Or maybe he knew his lack of dignity brings an inadequate reputation to his school and withdrew on time. You dash. They're Aries' voices talking outside the resting place, but Kirishima doesn't care. He is seeing red right now, and it takes Sato's full power to hold the boy back from attacking the senior. Tsuyu is also doing her best to stop Uraraka from committing homicide, but her face is deadly blank. Mina resembles an angry animal with her non-stop growling, and Koda is looking at the senior with an unholy gleam in his usually soft eyes. Did he? The brunette sighs, strangely disappointed, or maybe something different, because her whispering sounds like laughter. Though, I don't think so. He looks so cute and strong. Maybe it's more than that. She is digging for information, and Kaminari wishes they had what she needs for her to dig. With a strangled voice, hoarse from crying this morning, he tells her angrily angry at who he really wonders. Why do you care? I dash. The girl never gets to complete her answer, as familiar explosions set off from far away, and someone flies themselves toward the crows, crashing against her violently. The dust and smoke and heat hitting them so strong it makes everyone taking steps back, scared and confused and surprised and hopeful. Footsteps come from the same direction the explosions start, voices shouting in disbelief. Class 1A manages to make out their teacher's shape, breathing slightly off from how fast he runs, but all they can afford to care now is the icy, strained and wrathful whisper in the cloud of dust. You. And the world ends with that single, vengeful word. Bakugu. Jaira breathes out, holding Yaoyorozu's wrists to ground her and tell her that this is not a dream. Of course, you dramatic beast. You motherfucker. The way his voice filled with hatred and disgust and more than that alarms everyone enough to wake them up from their dazed mind. Kirishima stops in his way of making physical contact with his best buddy. He is here, alive, real. He has to make sure that he is real, calls out instead, voice choked with feeling. Bakugu. The cloud fades, revealing the terrifying sight of Bakugu, no jacket, muscles tensed, hair sweaty, bruises coloring his skin like a pattern of flour, looking so riled up his eyes are glowing with fire and wrath. A hand raises up, popping explosions, bigger than just a few sparks, while the other hand is choking the brunette mercilessly. What are you doing, Bakudash? Aizawa speaks up, using all his rationality to make sense of everything, but stops again by the toxicity dripping from his student's hiss. Drop that? The girl grips his hands, face red, but her eyes shine weirdly, twisted and wrong, and this is so wrong, 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 wrong. You don't deserve that. He growls, and a thought rises in Koda's mind, of how he sounds so much like the mighty beasts, those he learned to fear and respect because their outrage shakes the world and ends life. And maybe they haven't seen him at his worst, because his normal anger looks like a child's joke compared to this fury. Don't you dare wear her skin like you deserve it. Like you are her. Someone steps forward from behind the crowd, and everyone turns their head. Someone screams. It's the same girl Bakugu is choking. Utsushimi. Seiji's voice shakes from the shock. What? The Utsushimi kami under Bakugu's grip melts, revealing bright blonde hair and dark, disgusting golden eyes greedily drinking in every detail of Bakugu's dark, murderously calming face. Right there, with none of her facade, Toga Himiko actually looks scared, but also giddy and fascinated. Oh my god, I will kill you. Her skin begins to burn right at the moment dark mist appears from nowhere, swallowing Toga up and taking her away from this mess. The girl's hands linger on his choking grip, like she doesn't want to let go, face breaking in half with how hard she is smiling. Bakugu kneels and watches, feeling nothing as Toga laughs out loud and waves him goodbye. It doesn't matter. She doesn't matter. The ghosts are still screaming, the little girl is crying, the bond is stretching with this mess in their heart, and he can't feel anything but rage, 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 rage. Cat. And with that one word only, the spinning, screaming world stops. Cat. The real Cammy softly calls out, eyes wide with shock and terror, but tears quickly fill up her tender glaze. She looks rough and dusty in her cat pyjama, the long jacket of Bakugo her only shield against this world, but still her back holds straight, because all she can care for right now is the boy who this world failed so badly. The poor girl takes a step, strangely steady, and another, until she makes her way to his side, and falls on her knees. She hugs him really, really tight, face buried in the crook of his neck, shaking, hurt, jumpy, and she is not okay, but she is alive, 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 alive. Bakugo doesn't hug her back, but he holds her hand, warm, 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 and he breathes. You beach. You offend beach. Cat, thank you. Bakugo closes his eyes and allows himself to fall into her softness, which the world has been so kind to not take away. It's so silent for a few moments. And then, what exactly? Ojiro voices everyone's confusion right now, staring at the weird couple. Is going on right now? Bakugo knew that he jinxed himself again when he asked for a simple, peaceful dream. And worse? He actually got it. The dream was soft and warm. Like he was laying on some dry, soft field with bright sun kissing his skin and dancing green grass brushing against his hands and legs. His eyes were firmly shut, but he could feel the color. For once, he dreamed of sunshine. Green was life. Yellow was the sun, and he was nothing, just a single dot in the whole picture. It felt strangely nice. Because everything was quiet. There were no sounds, no movement. Just the peaceful feeling of warmth and tranquility. And then it wasn't. There was a scream. His dream shattered. Light broke into starlight pieces, falling down from the sky and burning his flesh. And he was no glorious bird of eternity, he was just a boy who wished for peace and truth, so he burnt and he choked. On his own ashes. On his own nightmare. And then there was pain. Suffocating, overwhelming pain, like a sly snake with cold scales and pointy fangs grabbed at his throat and his heart, crawling down and filling him up with sheer terror. His body was useless, trapped and chained and painful and failing and trying to escape, but he couldn't move and nano. What happened? Was safety truly a lie? Was everything fake? Was he still back there, out of his comfort land, touched by malice? Living through adrenaline and fear? Or had the villains finally found out a way to take him again, because they saw through his eyes and knew the look of someone who was loved by death? Bakugo scratched his neck. There were no hands. He scraped his arms. No chains. He breathed in and out, and even if he was dreaming, he was still able to smell the faint lavender soap he used to wash his stuffed animals. He was fine. But he wasn't. Because his body was still screaming, alarmed, fuming. His heart knew better than his mind. It knew before he could even think about that, and everything came crashing down, a malevolent punch to his gut. It was Beach who was in danger. This pain was her. This terror was her. The screaming and thrashing and muscle tensing all belonged to her. And the bond automatically shared it with him, because she was unsafe. It wasn't him who needs saving this time. But Bakugo desperately wished it, and it was because he couldn't lose her. Bakugo woke up. Or, to be more specific, he jumped off his bed with a loud thump, chest rising frantically from the heavy breathing. Sweat covered his skin from the top to the very bottom. His hand reached out to search for something, someone, 'cause he needed a name, a thing to break and kill and stop her pain, her misery. But he was useless, so all he did was focus. The bond. It was there. It was still there. She was still there. He hadn't lost her yet. He hated that word more than he hated the stupidity of Deku, and wasn't that something impressive? His room was dark, so dark that silvery, mellow moonlight couldn't shine through. Or was that her room? He really didn't know. His mind was such a mess right now, the voice of calmness drowned in panic and fear. Images were flashing through his eyes, color and shapes. Golden hair. Golden eyes. Creamy skin. Black mist. Laughter. A glimpse of metal. A knife. Sharp and pointy, made to draw blood. A smile. A girl. Another scream. His mind was hot from his enormous rage, but his heart was so cold his blood should be freezing. Bakugo had sharp teeth. Not as sharp as Kirishima's ridiculous shark mouth, but enough to form a wicked, feral smile not unlike those dangerous carnivore. He had threatened to bite the fuckers in his class Mineta to death a lot of times, but he had never known how sharp and effective his teeth could be at tearing normal flesh. Until now. The tip of his tongue fell off, and with it came sharp, throbbing pain and salty liquid of red blood. Bakugo swallowed it all, because he didn't want to make a mess, and he knew this was stupid but it worked somehow. The pain brought back his well-functional brain, so he tried to look for next step. He had to save her. Whatever it took. Calm down now and think. Stay FNG calm. Fear and panic be gone, all those unuseful things wouldn't help her, so calmness was what he could offer to help her now. He pulled out his phone from the cluttered desk, turning it on and searching for the teacher's number. Aizawa would be FING mad at him and he would be in detention for years, maybe, but he needed help right now. The teacher was sensible, proving himself to be a good human being and not the same bullshit Bakugo has been forced to tolerate for his whole life, so reaching out for help was normal, right? What a stupid idea. Adults never help. They hurt and lie and destroy. Rough voice rang through his mind, shaking with cracked laughter, pouring gasoline into his spark of apprehension. Bile rose up and his stomach clenched uncomfortably, finger hovering on the screen of his phone, hesitated. Save yourself. Save her. For once, the disgusting voice leaving behind by the FING trauma of those liar faces actually made some sense. No one came for them. No one was there. No one knew their stories. No one understood. The lab was still there, somewhere in this world, corpses rotten to the bones and waiting to be found. But no one did. The world wanted them to drown, and so they could only believe in themselves. But it wasn't like that anymore, right? They did come. They actually came. For him, and even if that was dreadful and he would prefer different, they still came and should he trust them? Was Aizawa worthy of his trust? If you're in any trouble, call me. Do not hesitate. I will be there for you. Bakugo didn't know anymore. Still, he wanted to try. He pressed the calling button. The stupid music of some cat video rang softly in the air. And then, no one answered. Of course. No one ever did. Why would he even surprise? What exactly had he expected? It was midnight and Aizawa needed rest. His eye bags were so dark it could rival a panda's eyes, and if someone threw a pillow at him, they would lose him to the land of dreams. The class really messed him up, so he deserved to rest in peace. It was common sense. Totally normal. Nothing big. He was the stupid one, bothering his teacher because of his own weakness. Then what was this bitterness in his mouth, tasted so much like disappointment and failure? The phone dropped onto the floor, forgotten. He took a deep breath and turned around, his hands were shaking as he thought about a different way. Soft whimper came out, like a strangled mouse. A choking prey. It took him another second to realize it was him who making that pitiful sound. Her voice sounded so soft. But it wasn't the same tenderness he loved to the moon and back. It sounded weak. Shaking. Like he was gonna lose it anytime soon. And with that simple sentence, Bakugo lost his sanity to endless rage and blinding dread. He didn't know how the F did he manage to get out of the dorm without anyone noticed in that shitty state. His body was trembling, the knives in the jacket he grabbed before flying out of the window were clacking, like silver bells, tolled for the absent ghosts. His eyes blown wide, teeth clenched, almost broken, skin feverishly hot and at the same time, icy cold. The night air tried to cool him down, dampness soaked into his bones, but didn't succeed. The gate was strangely empty. He noticed somehow, no guard, no teacher. Didn't matter. Didn't care. He was running. Or flying, he really didn't know. His body didn't feel like just his anymore. His lungs were still choking sometimes, in sync with another pair of lungs. Redness colored his sight so bad it dripping thickly, up to his toes and rolling down his skin. The blood came back from the past, a haunting evidence of what failure could have gotten him, of what he would get as a punishment if he failed again. He was on the street, scared and raging, a wild animal. He was somewhere, helpless, weak, fake and real and confused because his skin wasn't his anymore. He was down and down and down, held by violent hands and screaming voices, and he was a human. Then he was none. His nose catched the burning smell of cigarette. Bitter, but not unpleasant. Just a sliver of white smoke coming from behind the brick walls around the street. Light went off and on, could be a signal, so Bakugo grabbed the jacket and pulled it over his head. The fabric was soft under his hand. Worn from ages of wearing, long and made for curves he didn't have, feminine and delicate. His fingers could make out the smiley face embroidered at the edges of the jacket, and he wanted to throw up so bad. He covered his face, pulled out Lily the knife, and followed where the bond dragged him to. God knew what happened if he lost another. God knew what happened if his heart once again grieved and prayed and shattered, because there wouldn't be anyone for him to come back from insanity. He would burn heaven and raise hell for Cammy. Something was wrong. Something was wrong. The tender feeling was gone. No more soft light and warm fire, all he could feel was their terror combined, a dead weight in his chest hole where his heart used to be located, so he screamed and thrashed and cried and begged. Please let me out. Please let me out. Please let me out. They denied his wish, chained him down again, voices screaming and demanding, and he cried and wept and howled and prayed. He was the child of no one. He didn't believe in God, because if there was one then all they gave was suffering. But him. Only him. This hell was him. This pain was him alone. Let them go. He mourned. Cammy's apartment smelled like sugar and cinnamon. It was not a bad odor, fitting in with creamy wallpaper, pretty decorations, and it radiated a home-like feeling. In fact, he actually liked it, but it was kinda weird for it to smell like that always. Even if she brought mint plant and cleaned the floor, whenever he came, he always felt like walking through a castle of cotton candy and chewing on sweet cinnamon rolls. And even now, when the key he put in the jacket opened the door was charred from the explosion he created mindlessly, even when his footsteps were light like a feline and his canines bare for the world to see, to watch out, his heart softened immediately at the familiar scent. So much that the facade nearly cracked, so he held Lily close to himself, cold metal against hot skin. There was blood. A small drip in the corner on the soft fluffy mat she loved, evidence of fighting, and Bakugo knew that, because like hell Cammy would just give up like a damsel in distress without fighting back tooth and nail. Stuff had been moved, some broken, some unharmed, but he didn't care. He slowly made his way up to the bedroom, painfully slow. The door knob was broken too. Bakugo crushed the wooden door and dashed right into the room, the knife raised and eyes bloody, murdering and frantic and scared, and red eyes met wide, watery, angry brown glance. He stared. That was her. Long strands of hair scattering on the floor, pooling round her body, some clung damp to the bed sheet and to her neck. Her wrists were tied, her mouth was covered, a diamond mouth guard, and there was blood and purple and called the voice, barely uneven, hoping and praying and desperate because she couldn't see, but the bond didn't lie and he was here. Really here, and a tear rolled down her cheeks. Bakugo threw himself at her, wild, crazed and violent, but Cammy didn't even flinch. She even tried her best to crawl closer to his body, to feel the warmth and be free, allowing his hands feeling her heartbeat, her life pumping in her veins, and more things to prove that she didn't join her friends. The rope was hard, big and strong, but Bakugo's knife wasn't for nothing and he did know how to use them skillfully, thank you very much. The mouthguard made from steel, but the strap was leather, so it took him a few more seconds to cut it off, alongside with some brown hair, but they really didn't care. Cammy wanted nothing more but to hug him tight and hide away from everything for now. But she knew better and hatred was seething in her mind, calling for revenge and payment, so she whispered, tugging at her jacket, eyes glazed and unfocused and then narrowing viciously. They came. The girl drank my blood and wore my face, my files and the exam. He understood. Of course he did. He always did, always would. I want to hurt them. And who was he to reject her? Because he knew that she needed medical treatment, but her mind needed this. He needed this. So Bakugo gave her his jacket, and they ran their way straight to the exam. Can you tell me what happened? Bakugo simply purses his lips, folds his arm in front of his chest and glares. Tsukachi holds eye contact, respectful and patient. Kami sits right next to him, still in her jacket, a warm blanket in her lap and a cup of warm milk in her steady hands as she looks around the office, innocent and sweet. So Bakugo takes the question and throws it out of the window, because F them, he will not let her eyes lose their light. She has been through shit and this is how they treat her? Absolutely bullshit. Where is his Lily? I already told you everything. The villain got her. She called for me. I saved her. The end. I know, Bakugo-kun, but I need to hear from Utsushimi-kun's perspective. The detective's face looks apologetic, but Bakugo doesn't trust him. He can't trust anyone now, when his blood is boiling and his mind is screaming bloody murder at any strange face dare to come close to Kami. I promise this will be fast. You dash. Cat. Kami speaks up, finally turns away from the cat head detective, touching his hand softly. Their fingers lock, steady and warm, as she pulls him closer to her side and comforts him. It's okay. I'm okay. Pinky promise. He swears loudly, but listens to her and sits down. So, you tell me that you were ambushed. Can you give me more details? Yes. I was sleeping on my bed, excited because I would get to compete in the exam with Kat and I missed him so much dash. Beach, focus. Sorry. She sends him a smile, which means she doesn't mean that. I was so excited it took me half an hour to fall asleep. But right after I did, someone came into my room. I knew something was wrong, 'cause I locked my door and set up some triggers to warn me about intruders. But still, they just popped right inside my room, so I didn't have time to prepare and ended up captured. He squeezes her hand, pushing his shoulder against hers and feeling her trembling muscles relax slowly. Kami is still smiling dreamily, but the darkness in her eyes doesn't leave. He knows it will never leave. I'm very sorry. Tsukachi sighs, and flips his notebook, pen moving quickly to write down every word. No need to. She genuinely laughs it off. It's none of your fault. No. It's our responsibility to protect you children and everyone. However, we failed and you were put in danger. If it wasn't for Bakugo-kun here, God knows what could have happened. We were so distracted that the villain, Himiko Toga, successfully got into the exam. He bows, voice dripping with true sorrow and anger. So, I want to say sorry, because you are too young for this accident. Kami becomes silent. Her thumb goes up and down Bakugo's palm, searching for an answer, searching for just some words softer than her screaming, because her throat is full of knives and this nice man doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve her anger, doesn't deserve her bottled sorrow and disappointment. So she chooses the truth. I'm not angry nor mad. I don't feel anything at all. I never expected any of you adults, you heroes, to come. I don't have any expectation for you. So when you failed me, I felt nothing. But I'm sad. 'Cause I want to be with Kat and become a true hero. Maybe I can meet some pretty boys too. She winks, finishes her milk and puts it down on the table. The detective's face twists with something wrong, something complex, but he says nothing. Just some polite goodbye and quickly leave them alone. Her brown eyes follow him silently as she tells her soulmate. He is a good man. Whatever. Bakugo barks out, still holding her hand aggressively and bristling like a wild dog. So Kami turns over, wraps an arm around his broad shoulders and nuzzles into his neck. His nose catches the sweet scent of her shampoo, lavender and something more, mixed with faint iron and salt. That scent combines with the weight of her warm body by his side, finally helping him relax and let go of the anger inside his heart. For now. Aoi, don't be angry, be my soft baby cat. I'm not soft, Beach. Yes you are. You big, dumb, silly softy of mine. Get lost. Nope. He bites her cheek. The flesh is soft and tastes like sweet milk. She squeals like the demon Beach she is, and cuddles tighter. You dumb dog. Let me go, Beach. He catches some purple hair coming closer to their seat, and the seething rage comes back, louder and meaner this time. Cammy must feel it too, as she slowly unwraps her arm from his shoulder and steps behind him, using Bakugu's muscular body as a shield against the world. She isn't ready for her so-called classmate. She isn't ready for anything. "Atsushimi," said Seiji with his stick up in his butt. "Why you sticking with that beast? And how can you be so unpunctual? Our school dignity is ruined and dash." He doesn't finish that sentence, as the next word is forced right back on his tongue, jaw shut forcibly by Bakugu's fist. It's all thanks to the quick reflex school beats into his body that he doesn't lose any tooth or break any bones, but the bruise is so dark that it makes his face comical. "I dare you to speak one more word, you little beach dash. That's my nickname, cat." Little clusterfuck with fancy words spewing out from that trashing mouth. "You dash. Yes, me, someone better than you, is gonna kick your arse if you don't shut the F up right now." He can feel her giddiness through the bond, but that doesn't stop the sorrow from kicking in. And for All Might's sake, that pisses him off even more. "I hear you speaking something about me before I get in." He pulls the senior's collar up, explosions burn the edges to ashes, but that's nothing compared to the fury shining in those red irises. "And I don't FING care about how you think of me, because you are just an extra, a waste of space. I give no shit about that Bollock brain of yours. But I know one simple fact, shithead. I'm better than you, a FING hero in training who couldn't notice that his classmate, FING, what? A cockalorum couldn't see through a facade, couldn't see through a lie." Seiji is shaking under his knees. From fear or from anger, he doesn't care anymore. What a good hero. From the corner of his eyes, he sees her. The little girl, who has been there for the whole day but he doesn't notice because Cammy is his priority. Who stands there as a reminding of failure and dead. "Are you right, shithead?" "Bakugu, stop." A hand, strong and calloused, settles on his shoulder and pulls him away from the senior. Bakugu allows them to, because he recognizes the black hair and grumpy voice, blank and tired like always. He thinks his head is fed up when he hears Aizawa's tone tremble at his name, or how he holds too tight, afraid to let go, afraid of his student disappearing again. Aizawa will never be so weak. Aizawa doesn't care, just like how he lies and he doesn't care. Bakugu wishes he does. "Sensei," he announces the man, looking at those swirling black eyes. "I guess I will take the next exam. The teachers have discussed this with the council, and we decide that we will put you into the remedial course with other students, and your friend." The teacher takes a look at Cammy, who grins at him joyfully. "You have been so foolish, taking the action on your own, running out of the dorm and risking your life like that. What if it's a trick to kidnap you again?" "Bakugu, I'm being serious. And if so am I." He isn't shouting, but the quietness in his voice rings louder than anything. So loud Aizawa's face goes pale and confused, the next strict words and planning detention stopping right on the tip of his tongue. "I don't want to do this alone." Then dash. No one listens. I try to call, but no one listens. His words echo, turning into white noise and messy sound, but Aizawa can still hear it pretty clearly. His brain hurts, but he can't stop listening, because Bakugu sounds so broken. "Even you don't listen. So I had to save her." Looking at the struck teacher, Bakugu simply turns away and goes straight toward Cammy, who is talking to Mina, happily chatting about some random thing even if the pink girl doesn't really pay attention. "Beach, let's go." "Wait, boom boom dash. Bye, see you later, pretty. It's nice to meet you." Cammy blows a kiss to Mina, turning the girl into a blushing mess and making her forget her words for a moment. Bakugu uses that chance to take her hand and drag her back to their resting room, away from this sheet, away from everything. She follows him, not a word. They run, suddenly. From who? From what? Bakugu doesn't really know anymore. Blood is rushing to his ears, sweat builds up in his palm. He is heaving again, they all are, but he doesn't care. The darkness in the hallway is rising, lurking like a predator, waiting to hurt them, hurt her, and he can't let them. Won't let them. "Katsuki. Shut up. We are not safe. Too dark. Too bright. Too red. Too loud. Too quiet. The ghost screams again. Cammy decides that it's enough. She grabs at something and yanks him back harshly. Bakugo stumbles, back crashing against her shoulder, and they all collapse to kneel on the floor, hands tangling. The ground is wet and red and he is shaking and nananananano. Then it turns green. Soft, green grass and bright, sparkling sunshine kissing his hand like the good old days. The simple, stunning sight makes his breath hitches again. He can barely think through his terror, his stupid terror and shitty brain that doesn't understand anything and keeps yelling and, "Alpha!" Cammy whispers, and the nickname grounds him down to the present, to her. He looks up, truly look at her. Her eyes are not half-lidded anymore, wide, watery, tender and sweet. Brown, bright brown eyes, almost turning into a molten gold in the sun, reflect his face, how he sweats and frowns. She has always been an appealing girl, pouty lips, round cheeks with baby fat that makes her look even softer. Curly strands cling to her neck and her jaw, framing that cute smile, and his heart just melts. Staying this close allows him to catch those hidden emotions. She has a good mask, always smiling in the way how he is always raging, starting to break through the calmness she shows. Fear, anger, tiredness, wariness, gentleness. So much love. Pure, forgiving, sweet love, for him and for her friend, swells up in both of their heart and drowns him with so much affection it hurts in a good way. How can she love someone like him? How can she love him more than he loves himself? She loves and loves, with broken heart and rotten hope. Bakugo will never stop admiring that braveness in her heart. Sunshine kisses her face the same way it's touching his hand. But they are not in outside, there can't be any sun. Her quirk, glamour, illusion. Another hand touches him gently, and Bakugo's heart stops when those deep, dark eyes, round and soft and innocent and alive and so kind staring up at him, from a pretty doll face. A face belongs to someone who is dead, to someone who haunts him days and nights, but he loves her dearly. He loves her like how he loves Cammy, like Icarus loves the sun, willing to die, willing to fall. The little girl, still 10 and alive, smiles sadly and hugs him. He wishes the illusion can be true. It's okay here, see? Cammy leans her forehead against him, brushing his biceps up and down. Just us here. Only us. We love you. We love you always. I won't let you go, Alpha. Sunshine is a lie, but I'm the truth. Her voice rings with certainty. Bakugo wavers. One hand holds onto the edge of her pajama. The other lays on his thigh, feeling the coldness of a smaller hand on top of it. Cammy surely knows how to calm him down with her quirk, just like how she knows to break him completely, mercilessly. I'm here. I won't let you go. She buries her face into his neck, tears leaking out, but her voice is confident and undaunted. I won't let you go, no matter what. In Cammy's embrace, in the old field of grass and sun, under the shadow of a weeping willow, hidden away from his failure and ghosts and hatred, clutching at her too tight with no intention to let her go, Bakugo shudders. He feels her tears. Cammy's. The little girl's. Cold and hot, life and dead. Bakugo breaks. They cry. Hot, boiling tears rolling down soft cheeks and a mouth that wobbles, sobs rip themselves out of heaving chests. Hands tug and hold and pull, trying to stay stable but fail, and they keep falling apart, but it's fine, because they get to hold each other like this, in their own world, their own dream and field, away from the fire and lies of the adults. Bakugo screams into Cammy's shoulder, howling like a wounded animal. All the frustration bleeds out of his heart, mixes into the stifled wailing. Even when he cries, he still can't let it all out, because the ghosts are her and Cammy is fine, but things are not okay and Sheet is coming and he is so tired. Why can't this world show them any mercy? Hands on his body, small and big, soft, cold and warm, and he weeps and weeps and they cry and cry and cry. Hours seem to pass by until Bakugo is pretty certain that his hair is washed by her tears and Cammy's shirt is almost see-through with how hard he cries on her. The silence is unnerving, uncomfortable, and Bakugo doesn't like it. He takes a deep breath and another before opening his mouth slowly and says, "You got snot and sheet in my hair." His throat is hoarse, voice grumbling like swallowing pounds of sand, wrecked and terrible. He almost doesn't understand his own words. She does, somehow, like always. And if he asked her to explain it, she'd say some utter bullshit about magic and hope and friendship and every other positive monstrosity she can come up with off the top of her head. Just to annoy him. He knows that because he feels the shoulder shakes tenderly with laughter. Sweet, sweet giggle fills his ears and makes him relax even more. You are one to talk, kitty cat. Cammy snuggles closer, running her fingers through his scalp and running her fingers through his damp hair, nails sliding across his scalp. She kisses his cheeks, hands still cradling him like he is a baby, not ready to let go. Oh, scratch that. He is her baby, this world if it says otherwise. Gross. The blonde snorts, but doesn't make any move to let go. In fact, his grip on both of her sides is tighter, like if he dares to let go, he will come apart, piece by piece. Head tucked under her chin, ear close to her the beat of her heart, uneven, but strong, soothed him. Her hands are loose around his body, holding a treasure, not clutching to the last straw like a drowning man, stroking his head and his back softly, and Bakugo wonders if this is what is called the mother instinct in most of women's hearts? It feels nice somehow, both disgusting and nice. The bond hums with pure love and affection, which harmonizes with her heartbeat, so Bakugo breathes in and listens. Cammy makes a choking sound, suppressing a hiccup, wiping her eyes with the palm of her hand, pressing yet another kiss to his forehead, but he doesn't complain. They need this so FNG bad. She'd tired too. And of course, she is. Beach has been through such complicated trauma too, and it's all his fault, just like All Might. And Cammy sniffles and Bakugo quickly shoves all those negative dark things to somewhere far away from the bond, and closes it quickly, revealing a little place for her to feel his presence. He is not such an a-hole to take this piece of comfort away from her, he can never do that to her. Cammy keeps stroking him, shaky hands, trembling breath, and Bakugo feels. For All Might's sake, Bakugo's so done with this world, with everything. He looks over her shoulder, taking in every detail of the surrounding. They are still kneeling unpleasantly on the hard ground, in the middle of the path. Cold stone feel rough against soft skin, but honestly, Bakugo wishes they can stay like this till the world ends because life is a bunch of CRP and he wants to die like the FNG dramatic beach he is. Cammy's mental meltdown has led to loosening control on her quirk, so the illusion is disappearing. Sunshine fading away as if someone had bleached the very air around them. The grass, green and lush under Cammy's touch, turns to ash and dust. The little girl blinks slowly, round black eyes beginning to bleed sluggishly down her cheeks and onto the familiar white dress. Hair fading like an old photograph, going limp and tangled under his eye. Dirt spreads like an infection across her skin to cover a slowly graying patchwork that flakes off in places. Without Cammy's illusion to create the idea of life, there is only a corpse. This sickly thing in front of them was how she'd looked when he died. An ugly, small thing that while its heart beat, it was no longer alive anyways. There had been no beauty in her at the end, had there? An odd thought. But maybe he'd spent so long romanticizing his old friend that he'd forgotten those last moments. She died ugly, didn't she? Bakugo wants to puke, and he thinks if he looks at her a little longer he probably will, so he turns away and buries his face to the place where her shoulder meets her neck. Without the illusion, the truth bears itself naked to his eyes, fueling the stress and discomfort and paranoia that has cooled down a little bit since Cammy hugged him. Staying like this is as dangerous as lying in a forest full of predators, monstrous and hungry beasts while wearing nothing and having nothing to protect you. He feels vulnerable, unguarded to the eyes of people, and easy to be ambushed. It becomes more threatening when he considers the fact that right now, they are too exhausted to fully notice the environment around them, both physically and mentally. This is a logical decision. Bakugo tells himself harshly, "You are not allowed to be weak, you may hurt her." And that thought only gives him enough strength to, dreadfully and slowly unwrap his grip around his beach. Immediately, he feels her tense up, so Bakugo smacks her hands tenderly then quickly assures, "It's nothing. We have to go." "Don't want to." Cammy folds her hand under her round chest and purses those plump lips, stubbornly. Beach, it's not safe here. He shakes her shoulder a little, and hears her whining like a shitty baby makes and demon her. It makes him go soft and sheet, and he almost just straight up smacks her on the head. But even if she is a crybaby, Cammy is his perfect crybaby, so she listens to his advice and stands up, leaning on his shoulder and still hugging his waist, clinging almost painfully. We will never be safe after all. That's what he doesn't vocalize but knows that she does understand. He takes a step, expecting Cammy to follow right after. But again, she manages to surprise him by immediately squeezing his body and puts her face on his shoulder. What the F-Beach? Carry me. I want piggyback. He can hear the pout in her voice as day. Clear, soft, warm emotion keeps tugging at the bond, childish and annoying. What? Piggyback, like before? Cammy excitedly announces, and before he can even protest, she looks up a little, a hand comes up to brush it slightly across his cheek, brown eyes so sweet and bright with hope it crumbles all the remaining objection in his heart. Please. OFNG Beach. She knows what she is doing, that coddle voice and puppy eyes. She is a decent manipulator who always gets what she wants because he is ridiculously powerless to that expression. In the end, it's him who keeps spoiling her nonstop, isn't it? Motherfucker. F you. Bakugo growls, carefully bends down to easily grab her legs and pull it around his waist, secured. Love you too, kitty cat. She hugs his shoulder, sitting comfortably on his muscular back, feeling extremely safe for once. Long, brown hair falls down like a veil covering her face, but he knows she is smiling, a sweet, soft smile that life hasn't taken away from her yet. The softness she hides too well, only to be shown in this stupid situation, and Bakugo's heart betrays him by melting and filling up with these stupid warm feelings. He pretends this is all hers and none his, but they both know better. Hey kitty cat, we should head back to the school. This I'm out. Cat knew. I can't hear you Beach. Cat. Nope. You PP cat. That's all you have? Beach, be creative. Meanie. That's unrealistic and one of the most stupid things I have ever heard. Ojiro mumbles to Shoji, who nods in agreement as they talk about the explanation told by the detective and their teacher. Yeah? He just became a knight in armor and went for his princess. Mineta throws a tantrum and screams. He just wants to touch her bub. Mineta-kun. Your behavior is terribly rude. We are standing here with the dignity of our school as Udata students. Please show respect and be sensible. Ida aggressively shouts before turning back to Midoriya and asks, quieter this time. So, you also don't know anything? Yeah? I didn't know that Kaken has a friend in Shiketsu. The green hair boy frowns. Our old friends from middle school didn't get into hero school, because if they did then I would have known about it this whole time. That mean he has a friend that I don't know and dash. Maybe she is his secret sister? Todoroki chimes in. What dash? 'Cause he is giving her a piggyback ride, and that's what my sister usually does for me. All the heads in the room, hearing Todoroki's words, immediately turn to the corner of the room, where Bakugo is slowly entering, face pulled in a deep scowl. The look, however, is ruined by the fact that he is carrying a appealing girl on his back and the girl doesn't seem to be dead or terrified for her life. In fact, she seems to be at ease and even dares to tease him, based on the bickering the class can hear from such a distance. Can anybody tell me? Hagakure whispers loudly, clapping her hands over her mouth, judging by the squeaking voice and her gloves' movements. Am I hallucinated? Because I think Bakugo is carrying a cutie on his back and laughing? You mean gorgeous, don't you? Mina breathes dreamily, clutching her chest when the brunette throws her head back and laughs happily at something Bakugo says. Angelic, breathtaking. Mina, hold your gayness. Uraraka faintly tells the pink girl. Tsuyu seems to sense how the girl is getting distracted, so she uses her tongue to pull the hand of Uraraka away, eyes still fixing on the pair curiously. They look so close. Jiro swallows, suddenly feeling nervous for no reason. Maybe because the two look so happy, they feel like they are invading a personal moment right now, or maybe it's Bakugo they are talking about. Angry, violent, perfect, strong, godlike Bakugo who carries his will on his sleeves but his heart locked away in the farthest land of Earth. Seeing him so normal feels like being hit by his howitzer impact, just absolutely blowing their minds away. I'm so confused right now. How did he go and magically save her? The atmosphere freezes with tension. Jiro's words bring back the gut-wrenching fear at the knowledge of how a member of the League can intermingle with them so easily. They didn't notice. Midoriya didn't notice. Shinkitsu didn't notice either. What would have happened if Bakugo hadn't come to their rescue, with an impressive punch and cursing on his tongue like he always does? Uraraka shivers with that mere thought. Her stomach clenches tightly with that horrible idea. The detective told us, right? She speaks up meekly. The villain ambushed the girl and used her identity to mess with us. Bakugo somehow knew her and came to her rescue, then came back and saved us. That sounds illogical and purely nonsensical. Yaoyorozu puts a finger on her lips. How did he manage to get through the protection of U.A without triggering the alarm? Well, he is Bakugo? Tokoyami pops in and shrugs. The definition of impossible come true? Magic and demon? A being surpasses any limit, raises hell and cause madness. Oh Tokoyami dash. I think he's kinda right, Karo. We don't know much about Bakugo-chan. See you rabbits, bouncing on her feet when Bakugo carefully puts the girl on his back down to the chair in the resting place. He looks so gentle. It's hard to think that this is the same classmate she meets every day but knows nothing about him. It makes her wonder, again, is what he's showing every day a facade, or it has a deeper meaning than what it simply tells them by the first look? Tsuyu truly doesn't know. Yamamo, hold my bottle please. Mina stands up suddenly, the half-drunk bottle ignored on the table. Her golden eyes are shimmering with unwashed tears that come up so surprisingly it shocks the girls. Lips pursed and pulls down to hold back what sounds like a sob. She doesn't take more time, running with her full speed towards Bakugo, who just leaves the brunette to say something with the teachers on the stand. Boom boom. What the F shit is wrong with you? Did you purposely lose your brain to try to compete with Dunce Face? Hey! How can you insult both me and Mina at the same time, in one sentence? Kaminari screams in protest, but then he shakes his head and suddenly, the blonde also flings himself on Bakugo with a heartbreaking screech of, "We miss you, dumbass? Well, F you. You scared us? F you too." Kami watches in awe as Bakugo begins to wrestle with a teary Kirishima, but he never uses an explosion nor any moves that she knows if he does, will harm his opponent and bring victory. But this is not a survival game, and they don't have to fight like that anymore. These are his friends, his loved one, who make his bond filled up with warmth and comfort, and oh, doesn't that fact make her want to cry so much? The girl sips on her can of cocoa that Bakugo gave her just a moment ago, before frowning unhappily. The can is cold and mushy, therefore cocoa doesn't taste as good as she remembers. She wonders, where is the kitchen? Hello. Oh, hi there. Kami looks up and waves to the boy who she knows yet doesn't know and will stay neutral until she truly knows. His hair looks like candy cane, of Christmas and happiness, and those heterochromia eyes are really pretty. I'm Todoroki Shuto, Bakugo's classmate. Atsushimi Kami, correct? The boy bluntly says, not rudely though, so she beams and nods. May I ask, are you Bakugo's secret sister? Nope. Kami shakes her head, waving him closer then whispers, like revealing the universe's eternal secret to him. I'm his secret soulmate. I see. That's why he behaves so mellow around you. Todoroki blinks at the sight of Bakugo ducking away from Shiro's grabby hug and decks Kirishima viciously, his eyes burning with fire, but not the inferno used to threaten them on top of the old building. It's a warm, tender flame like those campfires with all good memories and safe feelings. He is mellow. Like a kitty, but don't tell him that. He doesn't want to be exposed. I won't. He seriously vows and watches as the girl nods in satisfaction. Those pouty lips widen in a bratty grin. She blows him a kiss, glitter twinkling in the air and color lights up his vision, forming the sight of a boy, who looks kinda like him but with a big smile and cheeky look. He looks kinda like Natsu, and that's so weird, but he is confused yet curious. Do you know my brother Natsu? Nope. Then who is this? It's you but cheekier. Kami stops the illusion and winks. Todoroki is startled, and when he focuses a little more, he can see how the features of the face are similar to him. The glitter makes it hard to distinguish the color, but it's still kinda red and white, so Todoroki thinks it's really him. I look terrible. Why? I look like my brother. It's terrible. Oh, I like you, Roki-kun. You are silly but gold. He doesn't understand what he had said to make her laugh this hard. Is it true that she doesn't know his brother? Why does she look so happy and humored? He does try to look at his friends to call for help, but Ida is trying to comfort a wheezing Midoriya with a face of someone who just realizes his life at utter shit. So he pps his head with bewilderment. I will take that as a compliment. You are welcome. Kami's smile gets smaller, but also sweeter so suddenly, right at the moment the brunette takes a look over his shoulder. Todoroki turns around and manages to catch the glimpse of a smile on Bakugo's lips as he holds Mina in a headlock with the other three surrounding him, fake terror in their eyes and their scream. Aizawa is looking exhausted and totally done with their bullshit, but he thinks the teacher looks kinda happy yet so conflicted. Like how his mother used to look at him before, sorrow weaves into soft love, not really hatred but not unconditional love either. Or maybe both. He doesn't know, emotion isn't his stuff. Are you jealous? Echen? Of them? Yes. Because he is spending time with them? No, I'm not. I'm irreplaceable to him. There is something more in her confidence, something about that sentence, a secret bigger than the fact she is his soulmate, even bigger than the truth behind the identity of the stealer of Uraraka's chocolate box. Todoroki blinks when Kami raises a hand and runs it down the steel can, feeling the harsh edge while losing her mind to the mysterious memory. I'm just happy. Happy to see him smile like that again. To know that maybe, just maybe, and yet there is still a possibility that he is getting better and things will be fine. She remembers a cold announcement, sad eyes, an accepting smile and grieving anger and so much self-hatred throbbing with the bond, and she begs and begs and begs because Bakugo doesn't deserve this, she doesn't deserve this, he doesn't deserve, they don't deserve this, then www. Maybe one day he will step out of that demon shadow of guilt and her sun will shine through the cloud, not as bright as the good old days, but enough to keep hoping. It's fascinating. Kami fondly looks at Todoroki, at the teacher she met months ago and approved so much of, at his friends and squad, and think of how all of them have done him so much good, despite the fact that they know nothing of what has happened. It's really a wonder. Hey, you can use fire, right? Yes. Heat the can for me, can ya? Kami pushes the cocoa can into Todoroki's hands. Unfortunately, his first reaction is to freezes the can totally, then melt it so quickly it boils and burns, the steel melting slightly while the brown liquid drops ping on the floor, still bubbling. They both stare for a long moment. Sorry. That's impressive, but I don't like burned cocoa. She laughs it off, gives him a lazy two-finger salute before running over to Bakugo, who just finished his fight with the squad and jumps on his back. Dio, you want to die, beach? Love you too. Introduction, gimme introduction, I want to know your friends. Go to hell. What a pair. Todoroki can't help but think, amused and charmed. Really, what a special pair they are.